In her past life, Mimi pulled all-nighters, working overtime every single day, and ended up working herself to death. But when she opened her eyes, she was reborn as a neglected, low-born daughter of the Sheng family, receiving a monthly allowance for doing absolutely nothing. She even had a personal maid to wait on her hand and foot. She never even dared to dream of a life this good before. She was ready to just lie back and enjoy her comfortable new life. But then, her older sister got reborn too. Her sister absolutely refused to marry into the prestigious Marquis's household, so their stepmother targeted Mimi instead, plotting to make her the replacement. She demanded that Mimi marry in her sister's place. Deep down, Sheng Mimi was absolutely thrilled. God was truly treating her well. He was practically throwing money at her feet again. But on the outside, she put on a troubled face. "Madam, this is a grave matter. Will father even agree to this?" Madam Sheng gritted her teeth. 88 chests of dowry will all be yours, including the 200 acres of land, the 3 prime shops in the capital. I will handle your father. If I weren't so terrified of offending the Marquis's family, I would never have given away so much wealth. Hearing this, Sheng Mimi immediately put on the bridal gown and happily married in her sister's place. The grand bridal procession was so spectacular that it shocked the entire capital. Many onlookers whispered in curiosity, "Wait, isn't this supposed to be the eldest daughter's wedding? How did the bride get swapped at the last minute?" Inside the carriage, Mimi's personal maid was sick with worry. "My lady, even though the Marquis's household is incredibly powerful and wealthy, the young Marquis brought home a pair of boy-girl twins 7 years ago. You'll have to be a stepmother the moment you walk through the door, and the young Marquis has been stationed at the border for years and still hasn't returned. Are you absolutely sure you want to go through with this?" Sheng Mimi laughed. Of course she was marrying. In fact, nothing on earth could stop her. Sitting in the bridal sedan, her face beamed with pure joy. Who on earth said marrying into this family was a bad idea? This marriage was a dream come true. Her stepmother had always despised her for being a low-born daughter anyway. Back at home, she had to beg and plead just for basic food and clothes. Even if she spent her entire life scraping by in the Sheng household, she wouldn't get a fraction of this massive dowry. But look at it from another angle. Once she married in, she would be the grand mistress of the entire estate. She got to skip the agonizing pain of childbirth entirely. Yet she instantly had both a son and, by pulling off this one big move, she would live a life of pure luxury for the rest of her days. But her maid, unfortunately, wasn't nearly as optimistic. "Miss, those 2 kids in the Marquis mansion are said to be incredibly cold and distant. The eldest miss must have heard about them and get terrified of being bullied once she married in, which is exactly why she backed out. Otherwise, why on earth would she give up the young Marquis?" Hearing this, Sheng Mimi's gossip instincts kicked in instantly. "Quick, tell me everything." You see, the Marquis mansion and the Sheng mansion have had a marriage alliance for a very long time. But out of nowhere, the young Marquis brought back 2 kids without a single word of warning and declared them his legitimate heirs. It was a total slap in the face to our Sheng family. Because of that, the Marquis mansion actually offered to call off the wedding. But back then, the eldest miss was so desperately in love that she insisted on marrying him, which was the only reason the wedding plan stayed in place. But now, even she has backed out and run away. Those 2 kids must be absolute nightmares to deal with. Sheng Mimi patted her maid's hand to reassure her and said, "Don't worry about it. I'll just play it by ear." But in her head, she was secretly panicking. What if the Marquis mansion refuses to accept this bride swap or throws her out on the street? What then? Oh well. She was determined to go to the Marquis mansion to make a fortune anyway. No matter how tough it gets, she has to find a way to stay. Suddenly, the bridal sedan chair came to a dead halt. The bustling, noisy street fell dead silent in an instant. It turned out the terrifying Imperial secret guards were on patrol. Everyone had to wait. Sheng Mimi worried that missing the auspicious hour would make it even harder for her to get through the Marquis mansion's doors. Unable to help herself, she peeled back the carriage curtain and peeked outside. The Imperial secret guards were the absolute most terrifying force in the entire Dayu dynasty, answering to no one but the Emperor himself. They were the only agency with the chilling power to execute first and report later. A masked man riding at the front was their commander-in-chief. Word had it that this man was utterly ruthless, a cold-blooded killer who slaughtered people like cattle. And the mere mention of his name made everyone in the capital tremble with absolute terror. Just then, his gaze swept over, and his overwhelming, suffocating aura sent a shiver right down Sheng Mimi's spine. She forced herself to lock eyes with him for just one single second, before immediately shrinking back into the carriage, thoroughly defeated. "God, those eyes are terrifying," she muttered. "Definitely someone I can't afford to mess with. Please, God of Death, just hurry up and let us pass. Don't ruin my big day." Thankfully, the procession was soon on its way again. When they finally reached the gates of the Chongren Marquis mansion, the disaster she had been dreading didn't happen. Instead, several head stewards were already waiting outside to welcome her bridal sedan. They immediately began the traditional blessing ceremony for the new bride. It seems the Marquis's manor agreed to the marriage after all. Sheng Mimi was sitting inside the sedan chair when she overheard 2 incredibly arrogant kids whispering in the nearby bushes. "Hurry up, sis. She's about to step out of the sedan. When she does, I'll toss some firecrackers right at her, and you throw beans under her feet to make her slip." She thinks she can just walk into our Chongren Marquis manor? Not unless I, Ming Yayan, say so. Sheng Mimi couldn't help but think, well, look at these little rascals. These 2 brats were trying to humiliate her and show her who's boss right off the bat. Just then, the 2 wedding matchmakers drew back the sedan curtain My lady, please step out.
At this point, even then Sheng Mimi knew the two little troublemakers were going to pull a stunt on her. She had no choice but to step out and play it by ear. Seeing her step out, the two rascals were itching to make their move. Just as the lively wedding music kicked off, the little boy grabbed an opportunity, put a handful of soybeans, and threw them right under Sheng Mimi's feet.
The two matchmakers in front didn't see it coming, slipped, and lost their footing. They panicked instantly. Oh no, what do we do? The bride absolutely cannot fall, but Sheng Mimi grabbed the matchmaker's shoulder, using it as leverage to leap forward.
Instantly clearing the slippery danger zone, she sneered to herself.
Is that the best you've got?
I've been practicing Bajuan Jikong for years. I'm no pushover.
The two kids were totally shocked. Brother,
she didn't fall. She's completely fine. Just watch me. I've still got a backup plan.
Thanks to her Badanji and agility, Sheng Mimi successfully dodged the little rascal's first prank. The two kids weren't discouraged at all. It's fine that she didn't fall.
We have other ways to deal with her.
With the crisis averted, the wedding continued.
The butler stepped forward and handed over a jade pendant. My lady, this is the young master's personal jade pendant. It represents the young master himself. Please hold it to perform the wedding vows later.
Sheng Mimi nodded and agreed.
She figured bowing to a jade pendant was way better than bowing to a rooster. But just as she got distracted, the little boy suddenly rushed out and slammed right into her. You wicked woman! Give me back my father's pendant! The impact knocked the jade pendant right out of Sheng Mimi's hands, sending it flying into the air. She tried to grab it, but it was already too late. All she could do was watch in horror as it shattered into 5 pieces on the ground. Seeing this, the little brat grinned. Ha! Our second prank was a success. Now let's see how you're gonna get married. Sheng Mimi was so fed up with this little terror, her fists clenched in rage. This little brat hadn't done a single decent thing all morning. All he wanted to do was make her life miserable. It's time to teach this little brat a harsh lesson in reality.
She reached out, pulled the little dumpling onto her lap,
and began to spank his little butt, making a big show of it, but barely hurting him. So you think you can just boss everyone around like your personal servants? And you even dared to smash my husband's jade pendant! The little brat was used to getting his own way, and had never been treated like this in his entire life. He wailed at the top of his lungs. You crazy woman! Do you have any idea who I am? How dare you hit me? Sheng Mimi quickened her pace. I don't care who you are. If I don't beat your butt raw today, my name isn't Sheng, you evil stepmother. The first— Let go of me! Are you going to let me go or not?
Not until you admit you were wrong.
The wedding hall instantly erupted into chaos. The crowd from the Marquis's manor watched the scene in utter shock. Her parents-in-law were also wide-eyed, never expecting this girl to be so fierce.
It was their first time seeing that little troublemaker, Ning Yaoyang, get put in his place. Seeing that she had made her point, we quickly stepped forward.
Dear daughter-in-law, please stop for a moment. We're in the middle of getting married right now. You can beat him after.
She naturally had to give her new parents-in-law some face.
Mimi stopped what she was doing instantly.
The little boy put on a pitiful face, tugging at the old Dao's sleeve as he begged his grandmother.
My sister and I, we don't want a stepmother. Stepmothers are all evil. They'll starve us. If she abuses me, I can take it. But if she dares to hurt my little sister, I, Ning Yang, will never allow it. The boy put on quite a dramatic performance. The old dowager only let out a heavy sigh. She immediately ordered her maids to take the little boy out, so he wouldn't cause any more trouble. Let go of me! I will never accept this wicked stepmother.
Despite his fierce struggles, the little boy was ultimately dragged away.
After that, Sheng Mimi successfully completed the wedding ceremony.
Holding Sheng Mimi's hand, the old dowager grew more pleased by the second.
Good child. From today on, our Jimo will not let you suffer any more grievances.
We don't hold the substitute marriage against you.
Now that you've married into our family, you are the mistress of this Marquis mansion. Just live your life here in peace. Sheng Mimi never expected that this blessing in disguise would lead the elders to fully accept her. She had transmigrated into the Sheng family several years ago, but had rarely experienced such warmth. A sudden wave of warmth rushed over her. Thank you, father, mother, for your kindness. In truth, the old Marquis and his wife had been quite displeased about the last-minute bride swap, but seeing that Sheng Mimi was actually able to handle that brat Yaoyang, they changed their minds. And so, Duan Huanqing actually accepted it, feeling incredibly relieved. We were just thinking we should take this opportunity to let Sheng Mimi keep a tighter rein on the two children. Maybe she can actually fix their stubborn and mischievous ways. Mimi, you did a wonderful job today.
You met the two kids, Yaoyang and Jai, today.
We've been absolutely spoiled rotten. My husband and I are planning to take a long trip. We're going to visit our daughter who married and moved to Yangzhou. Starting today, we're handing the management of this household over to you. Sheng Mimi was dumbfounded. Mother, father, isn't this a bit too sudden? She had only married into this Marquis manor for the 30 tiles of monthly pocket money. Running the entire household the moment she stepped through the door was definitely not what she signed up for. The old Marquis and his wife quickly reassured her. As a new bride, it's indeed a lot of trouble to manage the household and the kids right away. Tell you what, Mimi, if you take charge of the household, we'll add another 30 taels to your monthly allowance. If you manage the children as well, we'll add another 40 taels. Sheng Mimi quickly did the math. 100 taels a month meant 1,200 taels a year. Even a fourth-grade official's annual salary was only about that much. If she just managed the house for 3 years, she could easily buy a grand mansion in the capital. Instantly putting on a solemn and dedicated face, she accepted. Father, mother, please don't worry. Have a safe trip. Leave everything at home to me. I promise to take good care of the 2 children and handle all the household affairs. Afterwards, Sheng Mimi moved into the courtyard of her yet unseen husband, Ning Zhengmo. It was, as expected, incredibly luxurious and grand. She then ordered her maid to take inventory of the dowry she brought over from the Sheng family. Once everything was safely locked away in her private storehouse, she smiled. Her good life was finally about to begin. She planned to move into the wing room surrounding the main courtyard. She wanted to leave the main chambers open for Ning Jingmo to live in when he eventually returned with his favorite concubine. She at least had that much self-awareness. Still, if she wanted to secure her position in the Marquis manor, she had to put in some real effort. So, she called in Steward and ordered him to compile a copy of the manor's account books and staff rosters for her. From now on, all matters within the estate, big or small, must be reported directly to her. With that, Sheng Mimi stayed up all night, mapping out the relationships of everyone in the Marquis manor. She'd do very well. But to truly establish herself here, the approval of the old Marquis and his wife wouldn't be enough. She had to make everyone willingly accept her status. Only then could she truly hold real authority. Just like that, she worked through the night. She had barely slept when her maid woke her up in a panic. Madam, this is bad. The young master and young lady are on a hunger strike. Sheng Mimi chuckled, completely unfazed. Those little brats, they really love throwing tantrums, don't? And they think they can threaten their parents with this? Take me to them. When Sheng Mimi arrived at Tinshe Pavilion, where the 2 little rascals lived, she could hear the little tyrant, Ming Ya, throwing a fit from a mile away. I'm not eating! I won't eat! All of you, get out! Sheng Mimi walked in with her arms crossed. Nin Yayang, I heard that because you couldn't beat me. You're so mad you're going on a hunger strike. Is that true? Ming Yaoyang immediately lost his temper. Baring his teeth and claws, he lunged at Sheng Mimi. You evil woman! What did you just say? Say that again. I dare you. Sheng Mimi sidestepped slightly, causing the little kid to lunge forward and miss completely. Then she flashed the house management token and said with a smug smile, Ning Yaoyong, as of right now, I am your mother. If you dare raise a hand against me again, that's a direct act of filial impiety. Your grandparents have handed over all the power to run this household to me. If you dare to disrespect me, I can punish you however I please. Hearing this, the 2 little kids felt like their world was crashing down. They instantly snapped back. You're lying! How could Grandma and Grandpa ever hand over control of the family to a wicked woman like you? Sheng Mimi waved the management token in front of them. Your grandparents have already left for Yangzhou to visit your eldest aunt. They left in secret, just to avoid your crying and tantrums. The 2 kids shook their heads in disbelief. No way. You're lying. Just then, the maids arrived with breakfast. Sheng Mimi deliberately made a move to snatch the food. Ooh, look at all this delicious food. Tell you what, since your young master here is on a hunger strike, we'll just leave a tiny portion for Jiayu. Take all the rest to my room. Nin Yaoyang blew his top instantly. In your dreams. Who said I'm on a hunger strike? This is our food. I dare anyone to touch it. Hurry up and serve the food. This young master is going to have his breakfast now. Hurry up and eat, sis, or the wicked woman will steal it all. With that, he began shoveling the food into his mouth, polishing off half of the meal in just a few bites. Sheng Mimi feigned regret and ordered the servants of Freishi Pavilion. Listen up. If your young master ever claims he's on a hunger strike again, don't bother sending any food to his courtyard. I am now the lady of the Marquis's manor. If he doesn't eat, he's only saving me money. She then walked away with a triumphant smile. Just a tiny bit of reverse psychology, and he fell right into my trap. How naive. Dealing with 2 little grots really isn't that hard, is it? Ming Yaoyang felt like he was about to explode. That wicked woman is driving me crazy. This entire Marquis's manor belongs to my grandparents. Since when did it become hers? Dream on. That wicked stepmother wants to starve me? Well, I'm going to eat even more. I'll eat 3 whole meals a day. The little girl, Ning Jiawei, glanced at her fuming older brother. And here you were, talking about a hunger strike. It hasn't even been half a day, and you've already given up. Seeing her brother choke on his food, she quickly patted his back. Careful, brother, don't choke. He's just trying to scare you. Once Ning Yaoyang got his bearings, he regained his arrogant attitude and turned to his sister. I saw her carrying the housekeeper's tally. She's just a concubine's daughter from a scholar's family. There's no way she knows how to run a household. Let's go follow her and watch her make a fool of herself. Sheng Mimi pretended not to notice the little brat tailing her, and ordered all the servants in the manor to gather at the entrance of Freejing Hall. They were lined up in ranks according to their status. Someone in the crowd whispered, I heard the new madam is just a concubine's daughter from the Sheng family who married in as a substitute. She probably never even learned how to run a household. And yet, she's put in charge of the entire household the moment she marries in. The old madam is really being too careless. And just yesterday, she got into a physical fight with our young master right in the wedding hall. Sheng Mimi acted as if she hadn't heard a thing. She waited until their gossiping died down before gracefully lifting her teacup. Her gaze swept over everyone. I recall the Marquis's manor has a total of 138 servants. Today, there are 111 on duty, and 28 are on leave. Uncle Liu, tell those on leave to come see me tomorrow when they return to work. As the new mistress of this household, I won't change the established rules unless something major happens. But if I find anything unreasonable, I will correct it.
Our Marquis manor is a wealthy family.
And we are also a family of kindness.
So, everyone must do their duties diligently.
I will not tolerate any double-dealing or feigned obedience, lest things get ugly. Since you are paid by this manor, you must do your job.
She had spent the entire previous night studying the ledger thoroughly.
Did they really think they could catch her off guard? Then Sheng Mimi called out all the managing maids and senior nannies by name. Instantly, no one dared to look down on the new madam anymore. She had only been here for 1 day, yet she already knew the Marquis's manor like the back of her hand.
What are your orders, madam?
Sheng Mimi set her teacup down on the table with a clack. You few were just whispering in the crowd, accusing me of being disrespectful to grandmother. To disrespect your superior is a grave offense. Or slap yourselves across the face 10 times. The servants quickly fell to their knees, begging for mercy. Madam, we were wrong. We won't do it again. Sheng Mimi had no intention of getting a reputation for being soft and easily bullied. Her expression didn't waver. Slap yourselves.
They didn't dare say another word
And began slapping their own faces.
Just then, the little tyrant, Ning Yaoyang, stepped forward.
Stop! Let's see who dares touch the servants from my courtyard.
Seeing this, Sheng Mimi smirked.
Oh, so they're your servants? Well, you few don't need to go back to your duties there anymore. Once you're done slapping yourselves, go straight to the back garden to do manual labor. The little tyrant, Ning Yaoyang, was absolutely furious. He had stepped up personally, yet this woman completely ignored him. She even made the punishment worse. You bad woman, how dare you? With her smile unchanged, Sheng Mimi replied, I am the legally wedded wife of your father, Ning Jingmo. You should address me as mother, or at least, madam. You are the eldest grandson of the prestigious Chong'er Marquis Manor. Yet you keep calling me a bad woman over and over again, showing no respect to your elders. Shames your father. And shames our Marquis's manor. Do you hear me? Ning Yaoyang's face flushed red with anger from her scolding. Unable to find a comeback, Ning Jiajiao stepped forward. All right, brother. The little girl was delicate and beautiful. She had a cold, proud look on her face. The one who has a marriage contract with our father is the eldest daughter of the Hanlin Academy family, not some concubine-born daughter like you. Do you really think you're worthy of being called our legal mother? Facing the little girl for the first time, Sheng Mimi realized this sister was much tougher to deal with than Ning Yaoyao. But to her, it was still child's play. A hero doesn't care about their origin. Why wouldn't I be worthy? Your father and I bowed to heaven and earth and got married. I am the madame of this Marquis's manor, officially recognized by your grandparents. You don't get a choice in whether to call me that or not. Of course, if you refuse, you can keep calling me a bad woman. But if word of this gets out of the manor, people will only mock you for having no manners.
Ning Yaoyang was about to blurt out, bad woman, but his sister tugged at him. So he changed it to, how can you be so thick-skinned? The servants could all see that.
The clash between their young masters and the new Anem had ended in a clear defeat for the kids. Seeing no hope, the servants began slapping their own mouths. We were wrong! It was our big, foolish mouths. Please show mercy, madame. We won't dare do it again. Ning Yaoyang grew even more furious. Wasn't this a direct slap to his face? He was still trying to find a way to fight this bad woman, but his own servants had already lost faith in him and admitted defeat first. Furious, he grabbed his sister and stormed off. But Sheng Mimi called out, stopping them. Hold on, don't leave yet. Ning Yaoyang tumbed back, glaring fiercely. What do you want now? If you think this young master will ever call you legal mother, keep dreaming. Not in this lifetime. Even if you force me, it won't work. Sheng Mimi shoved the account book right in front of the little brat's face. You spend 1,000 taels of silver every month just eating and drinking at Zuzine restaurant? What kind of rare delicacies are you eating to burn through that much money? And then there are mountain trips, garden excursions, and theater plays, not to mention lending money to others. All of this adds up to nearly several thousand taels.
Ning Yaoyang hot angrily. So what?
Are you seriously trying to control how I spend my money? What business is it of yours? Sheng Mimi snapped the account book shut and handed it to the butler. She was going to break Ning Yaoyang's habit of reckless spending and help him develop a proper understanding of money. Otherwise, with his mind entirely focused on squandering the family fortune, how could he ever have the energy to study and bring honor to his ancestors? After all, she had given her solemn word to the Marquis and his wife. No matter what, we have to get this kid to pass the exams and earn a scholarly title. Butler, from now on, all of the eldest young master's inappropriate socializing expenses are to be cancelled completely. Under special circumstances, you must report to me first, and funds will only be released after my approval. The butler took the order. Ning Yaoyang was so furious he raised his hand to hit her again, shouting, It's not like I'm spending your money anyway. Even my own grandparents don't boss me around. Ning Jiayu held on tight to her raging brother, pleading, Brother, Don't do anything reckless.
Sheng Mimi 更霹雳一诺是许。
She even went further to provoke him.
You're right. Your grandparents don't care about you.
So I will! And I'm only doing this for the sake of our family's reputation.
Spending money is a small matter, but everyone out there is laughing at you.
They're saying that we have a massive sucker here in the Marquis mansion, named Ning Gaoyang.
Ming Naolang was instantly choked up with rage. Protecting her brother, Ming Jia chimed in. It's true my brother shouldn't waste money like that.
But as a young master of a noble house, some of his social expenses are absolutely necessary. You can't just restrict everything.
Sheng Mimi curled her lips into a faint smile. These two kids might despise her,
But they at least cared enough to protect the family's honor. They still had a shred of decency left and hadn't gone completely wild yet. So she instructed the butler that from now on, all of Ning Yaoyang's non-regular expenses
must be approved by the eldest young lady first before coming to me. Seeing this, Ning Jiahui quickly bid her farewell, saying, "My brother and I need to head to the family academy."
So we won't disturb you any longer, madam.
Seeing that they had finally relented and acknowledged,
For your status.
Sheng Mimi smiled and waved them off.
"Go on then, off you go. Be sure to study hard." As they walked away, a very confused Ning Yaoyang pressed his sister.
Whose side are you actually on? Hers or mine?
Once the siblings left,
The servants grew even more in awe of their new mistress, Sheng Mimi,
even the eldest young master had met his match in her. They knew they had to be extra diligent in their work.
and never, under any circumstance, offend her.
Sheng Mimi knew those two troublemakers wouldn't just sit still, but this little clash had unexpectedly helped her establish a powerful authority among the servants.
As for fixing the personalities of those two kids, there was still plenty of time ahead. She didn't expect to tame them in just a few days anyway. Finally, Sheng Mimi kept two of the mansion's seasoned accountants behind.
Wanting to find out which of the family's businesses were bringing in the most profit.
My lady, among our family assets, the pharmacies, the pawn shops, and the taverns bring in the most substantial income.
Other than those?
The cosmetics and clothing shops have also seen their revenues climb over the last few months.
Hearing this, Sheng Mimi pondered for a moment. The 3 dowry shops her own family had given her would not only fail to make money if they kept running like this,
But they might even end up costing her money. She needed to find a way to restructure their business and turn them into major cash cows. Just then, a maid rushed in to report that someone from the Sheng family had arrived.
and was demanding to see her. A middle-aged nanny walks into the room.
It turns out Lady Sheng had learned that Sheng Mimi was now managing the Marquis's household, and she was worried the Mimi, having never learned how to run a estate,
Would bring shame to the Sheng Kunlin mansion.
so she specifically sent this nanny over to help her manage things.
Mimi immediately recognized the woman as Lady Sheng's most trusted nanny.
It was clear that seeing Mimi become the matriarch of the Marquis mansion, Lady Sheng still wanted to keep her under her thumb and control her.
Mimi rejected her flatly.
There's no need for my legal mother to worry about this.
My father is Akabidi Minsheng. Even though I was born to a concubine, I still inherited my father's intelligence and eagerness to learn. A minor task like running a household is well within my capabilities. And even if I couldn't manage, there is no shortage of capable stewards here.
It is certainly not the Heinlein mansion's place to interfere in the Marquis family affairs.
Butler, see our guest out. Highly unwilling, the nanny had no choice but to leave. Meanwhile, the servants of the Marquis mansion began to treat Sheng Mimi with even... Suddenly, an urgent voice came from outside. "This is bad, madam. The young master has beaten up the clan school's old master. The old master demands that you go over there, immediately."
Mimi pinched the bridge of a nose in exasperation. That brat really couldn't go a single moment without causing trouble. The little tyrant's tantrums, however, had unexpectedly worked in her favor,
Helping Mimi establish her absolute authority in the mansion. And the two little troublemakers had been forced to submit to their stepmother's arrangements and attend the clan school.
But the more Ning Yoyan thought about it, the angrier he got. Now, as his guardian, Mimi was summoned to clean up his mess. "Master, please calm down."
Don't be so upset. The old master glared, his beard twitching with rage. And who might you be? Don't try to pacify me.
I'm going to stand right here and wait for the old Marquis to come and talk some sense.
I want to ask him face to face how on earth the Marquis's household raised Nin Yaoyan to be so disrespectful and utterly arrogant.
Mimi nodded repeatedly in agreement. You are absolutely right, master. It is entirely our family's fault. We failed to discipline Nin Yaoyang properly.
The old Marquis and his wife left the capital yesterday and are currently away.
I am Ning Yaoyang's legal mother. If you have anything to say, please tell me.
I will make sure he is thoroughly disciplined. Hearing this, the furious teacher gradually calmed down.
He felt that this new matriarch of the Marquis mansion actually possessed a remarkably good temperament and manners. So, he began to recount the details.
I have been tutoring young children from the capital's prominent families for decades, and yet I have never seen a boy as utterly wicked as Ning Yoyao. Not only did he fail his monthly exam, but he also disrupted the other students from writing theirs.
When I ordered him to stand in the courtyard as punishment, he ripped out all the flowers and plants. He even set free the pet parrot I'd been raising for over a year.
When I tried to discipline him with a ruler, he glared at me with even more fury than I had. Then, he shoved me right onto the ground. I cannot teach Ning Yaoyao any longer. Take him back with you.
He won't need to come to the academy for the next few days. Sheng Mimi smiled politely and reassured him. Don't you worry, I'll take him back and make sure he thoroughly reflects on what he did.
If he doesn't learn his lesson, I won't let him set foot in this academy again. Sheng Mimi's respectful attitude immediately diffused most of the tutor's anger.
Having dealt with countless parents, this was the first time he had ever met a mother so sensible and decisive.
She refused to spoil her child just because of her high status. Once she got to the bottom of the matter,
Sheng Mimi grabbed the tutor's wooden ruler and burst into the confinement room, shouting,
"Ning Yayang, you little brat, get over here and face your doom!"
But the room was completely empty. The only thing left behind was a wide-open back window. Sheng Mimi finally realized just how wildly out of control this brat really was. He actually hit his old tutor and dared to run away? Just wait until I get my hands on you, she muttered. She turned around and asked Julia, sweetie, do you know where your brother went?
Vintage Wake quickly shook her head and said, I don't know.
Should I go out and look for him? Sheng Mimi gently patted the little girl's shoulder and shook her head. You're still weak. Just focus on your classes. I'll go find him myself. Upon returning to the Marquis mansion, she ordered her personal maid to bring in all of Ning Yaodang's young luckies. All right, speak up, she demanded. Where did your young master go? If you cover for him, you'll have to face the consequences yourselves. The little lackeys cried out in panic. Madam, we really don't know.
Whenever the young master and young mistress go to the family academy,
We servants are only allowed to wait outside the gates. We can never go inside.
Sheng Mimi wasn't buying it for a second.
She let out a cold snort. You'd better think long and hard about this. If your minds stay blank, you won't be serving Ning Yaoyang ever again. If you can't even keep track of your own master.
What use are you to this house? That instantly broke the lackey's hesitation.
The terrifying iron-fisted display of power the new madam showed on her very first day was still fresh in their minds.
Desperate to save their jobs,
They spilled the most likely laid. Lately, the young master bought some champion fighting crickets. He's highly likely to be at the market, betting on cricket fights. Sheng Mimi immediately led her guard straight to the market. Sure enough, the little tyrant Ning Yaoyang was right there. And he had already lost 200 tiles of silver. The gambling house thugs were aggressively crowding him, demanding he pay up.
What's the rush? This young master has more than enough money.
Do you honestly think I'd stiff you on a bet?
Ning Yaoyang slapped down a 200 pal bank.
Nope. Feeling smug under the crowd's flattery, he was just about to play another round. Suddenly, a dark shadow loomed right over him. You little brat. I finally found you. He looked up, only to see Sheng Mimi's face looming right in front of him. Before he could react, she grabbed him by the ear.
You little brat, how dare you hit your tutor?
You even dared to skip class?
Gambling too? I see you've been hiding a secret stash of cash.
Ning Yaoyang squealed like a stuck pig, screaming.
Let me go! Unhand this young master!
The gang he was cricket fighting with glared at Sheng Mimi, their eyes full of malice. Who do you think you are? Don't ruin our business. Not backing down for a second, Sheng Mimi snapped back. Who am I? I'm his mother, that's who. Luring my son into cricket fighting and gambling. Keep this up and I'll report you all to the magistrate.
The moment she said this,
And the men scrambled to distance themselves. But Mimi Yuliang was still yelling. Hey, brothers, help me! I can still bet on the winner. Mimi let out a cold sneer. She snatched every last coin off him, confiscating his entire stash. Without any money left, none of the gamblers tried to keep him around. Ignoring Mimi pretext, Sheng Mimi dragged him right out of the crowd. You wicked stepmother! Let go of me this instant. Just like that, the cricket fighting brat was dragged all the way back to the mansion. Unable to break free, Min Yaoyang kept cursing. You wicked stepmother! Unhand me! Let me go! Sheng Mimi yanked his ear harder and barked. Still acting so arrogant, are we? Just wait until we get home. I'm going to teach you a lesson you'll never forget. Just then, a poor scholar carrying a book chest walked over and said to Ning Yaoyang, a mother's command is absolute. Children must show respect to their parents. You must learn to distinguish right from wrong and stay away from these bad influences. Glaring defiantly, Ning Yaoyang snapped. I don't even know you. Mind your own business and stop sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. The poor scholar shook his head slightly inside. Unrepentant. You should read more and learn some basic principles. Otherwise, you'll end up behind bars sooner or later. And by then, it will be too late for regrets.
Sheng Mimi couldn't help but size up the scholar. He looked like he had traveled from afar to the capital for the imperial exams.
He was even taking the time to help teach a stranger's child. This poor scholar is actually surprisingly decent, she thought. Smiling warmly at him, she said, Please don't take offense, sir. It is my failure to raise this child properly that has made us a laughingstock before you. Hearing her humble words, the scholar didn't push any further. He gave Sheng Mimi a polite bow and went on his way.
Sheng Mimi immediately ordered her personal maid to follow him.
Find out where he's staying. This man has the noble spirit of an upright scholar.
Just in case Ning Yaoyang gets kicked out of the clan school.
Maybe we can invite him back to tutor him. Back at the Marquis's manor,
Ning Yaoyang, forced onto his knees by the guards, began screaming and cursing again. You wicked stepmother!
What right do you have to discipline me?
You're not even my real mother. You are nothing but a low-born daughter of a concubine.
You're not even worth a single finger of mine. Let me go right now.
Or else, just wait and see if I don't teach you a lesson.
Sheng Mimi realized this spoiled brat, Ning Yaoyang,
desperately needed a good thrashing, so she ordered the housekeeper to bring out the family paddle.
The servants were all dumbfounded.
In the past, whenever the young master made a mistake, he would just act cute with the dowager, and everything would be forgotten.
Even the dowager herself could never bear to bring out the family paddle.
Yuan Yuan never expected this newlywed woman would actually dare to bring out the family paddle. He roared at her in a rage. I am the eldest young master of the Marquis's manor. How dare you?
Sheng Mimi sneered. The old Marquis and the dowager handed you and your sister over to me, especially you.
Ling Yoyang. They told me that if you make a mistake, I can beat you as much as I want.
And I certainly cannot let them down.
The old housekeeper quickly returned with the family paddle and a long wooden ruler.
Sheng Mimi，都多来。
Which of you will carry out the punishment for me?
Everyone lowered their heads in unison, not daring to utter a single word. Who would dare? The young master was a precious jewel of high status.
But this new madame was truly terrifying. Even the dowager allowed her to discipline him.
Did she really have the nerve to actually hit him?
Sheng Mimi sighed helplessly. I was hoping to see if anyone in this manor actually had some guts.
But there wasn't a single one. This showed just how spoiled Ning Yaoyang usually was in the manor.
She had no choice but to do it herself.
Ning's family rules. Rule number 10. Disrespecting teachers, punished with the ruler.
Rule number 47. Gathering to gamble, punished with the ruler.
With a loud crack, the ruler smacked right onto Ning Yaoyang's bottom.
Ning Yaoyang let out a blood-curdling shriek.
Seeing her brother get hit for real, Ning Jiayu couldn't hold back any longer and stepped forward.
Madam, please, let me take half of the punishment for my brother.
选静敏提个活动。
小杨美 my darling.
You indeed have your own share of blame. Your mistake is that you didn't stop your brother from acting like a fool.
But before she could finish saying, but you shouldn't be punished with the paddle, Ning Yoyang cut her off.
You wicked stepmother.
I did it, and I will take full responsibility. I don't need my sister taking my punishment for me.
Sheng Mimi smiled. Fine, I'll give you credit, kid. You've got guts.
Knowing to protect your sister shows you actually have a backbone. But then again, no one would dare lay a hand on Jiahui anyway.
She's a fragile little girl.
But you, Ning Yoyang, are a different story. This brat was practically born to get beaten. By the second stroke, Ning Yoyang clenched his teeth and refused to let out another. His backside burned with searing pain.
He finally endured all 20 strokes of the ruler.
He looked up, glaring at Sheng Mimi. Are you satisfied now?
Everyone thought this was the end of it.
But out of nowhere, Sheng Mimi knelt down right next to Ning Yoyang and cried, "Ancestors of the Ning family above, if the children erred, it is also my failure as their mother. I have been too lenient in disciplining them. I am willing to take 10 strokes of the ruler myself."
Everyone was completely stunned.
The two little ones stared at Sheng Mimi with highly conflicted eyes.
Sheng Mimi handed the ruler to Ba Yang, the dowager's senior maid. Ba Yang, proceed.
Binyang hesitated for a moment, but then did as she was told, delivering 10 solid strokes to Sheng Mimi. With that, the family punishment was officially over.
But the impression of her being a responsible woman left a profound, lasting impact on the entire household.
Supported by Shaoguozi, Sheng Mimi made her way back to Jintang Hall.
She deliberately walked with agonizingly slow, painful steps,
Making everyone believe she was in excruciating pain.
but in truth, this was absolutely nothing to her. She had practiced Badanjing for years, and her body already possessed a reserve of internal energy. This internal energy easily absorbed and cushioned the force of the ruler. Her backside wasn't even swollen. She knew she had to teach these little rascals a lesson, and that a physical beating was absolutely necessary sometimes. But she still needed to pull off a self-harm stunt to win the two little brats' hearts and keep them from rebelling.
Afterward, she asked Shaoguozi about the scholar she had told him to tail.
Shaoguozi reported that he had finished his search. The scholar's name was Ji Kamshin.
He had traveled to the capital from another province to take the imperial exams
And was currently staying in the woodshed of the Yinke Inn.
Getting by copying books and selling paintings. Since he's struggling so much, it would be much easier to convince him to join her. Back at Crescio Tower, the two little ones were applying medicine. Ning Yoyang lay face down on the bed, groaning. That wicked stepmother is completely unreasonable. I'm in so much pain. Ning Jiaye gave a cold sigh. The medicine is on now, brother.
She didn't even hit you that hard. Once we rub this safflower oil on, you'll be running around like normal by tomorrow morning.
Ning Yoyang snapped back. Why shouldn't I scream?
It's a miracle your brother here has such a strong constitution. Otherwise, I would have been beaten to death today.
Nin Zhouye sighed deeply.
Binyao didn't hold back at all when she struck mother. Ning Yaoyang instantly smirked with satisfaction. Serves her right.
How dare she try to discipline me, the heir of this Marquis's estate.
She brought that misery on herself. Next time the family rules are enforced, she should be the one getting beaten right alongside us.
Let's see who can hold out the longest.
Ning Jiayu spoke up disapprovingly. Brother,
Grandpa and Grandma literally fled to Yangzhou overnight and abandoned us.
Don't you think we should reflect on ourselves? Maybe we really did do something wrong.
our stepmother just married into the family, yet she was willing to get beaten herself just to discipline me. Say what you want, but her intentions are actually good.
Ning Yaoyang scoffed. I just can't swallow this insult.
Meanwhile, Ning Jiaye was feeling incredibly conflicted.
She knew her stepmother was playing mind games, but these tricks were exactly what made them feel so guilty. Just then, A maid came in with terrible news. The senior maid from the stepmother's courtyard had cleared out everything valuable from the young master's room.
She claims she did it because she's afraid you'll hide pocket money to go gambling again. Hearing this, Ning Yalang's temper, which had just started to cool down, instantly flared up again. Curse her! She just had me beaten, and she's already starting again?
She actually dares to confiscate my assets?
To reform this spoiled brat,
A single act of self-harm wasn't enough.
she ordered her people to confiscate every single valuable item from Ming Yaoyang's room, so he wouldn't have any money to throw around.
Ming Yelao, whose opinion of Sheng Mimi had just started to improve because she took the blame with him, exploded once more.
Stop! Once my rear heals tomorrow, I'll definitely make you pay. But the servants in the manor had already been completely won over by Sheng Mimi.
And they no longer feared this little tyrant. Fuming with rage, Ning Youyang turned to his sister for help.
Jiayu spoke up to comfort him.
Don't worry, brother. My things on the second floor are still untouched.
If you need money, just tell me. You can take it from my room on the second floor.
But Dian Yang refused. As a grown man, how could I ever steal from my own sister?
Xiaoyou, are you sided with that stepmother too?
Ming Jiayu quickly reassured him. Of course not.
I will always stand by your side, brother. Even if Grandpa and Grandma come back, I'll still stand with you. Hearing this, Ning Yaoyang was finally satisfied. With a loyal sister,
As for that wicked stepmother, Ning Hyoyoung wasn't afraid of her one bit.
Meanwhile, Sheng Mimi was looking over the wealth the maids had retrieved, clicking her tongue in disbelief. This spoiled brat was incredibly pampered and living in utter luxury.
he actually used a golden chamber pot. His New Year allowance alone was worth more than her entire lifetime salary as the mistress of the Marquis manor. After hearing this, she told the maid to store everything away safely, to be returned only after Ning Yaoyang reformed himself. By now, it was already midnight.
Sheng Mimi initiated the second phase of her plan, taking her maid out to the bushes to catch crickets.
After searching for a long time, she finally spotted a massive cricket in the grass. Just as she was about to trap it with her net, the voices of some nearby servants startled the massive cricket away. Why aren't they here yet? Go and hurry the manor, doctor. Sheng Mimi sensed the tension and panic among the servants. She rushed forward immediately to ask what was going on.
The servants told her that the young mistress had suddenly suffered a severe chill. Sheng Mimi had actually looked into Jiayi's health before.
She knew there was deep-seated cold trapped inside her,
It would flare up once or twice every winter.
but she didn't know the exact details. Right now, Jiayi was shivering violently all over. Her condition was far worse than ever before. Terrified, Ning Youyang watched anxiously by her bedside, utter to terrified that his sister wouldn't make it. Seeing Sheng Mimi, he snapped. What is this woman even doing here? Where on earth is the doctor? Why isn't he here yet?
Sheng Mimi didn't bother arguing with the brat.
She took a few quick steps to the bedside, reaching out to check Jiayi's temperature.
She instantly felt a wave of icy, piercing cold.
Just as she was about to take action,
Liang shoved her away, as if she were a thief,
what do you think you're doing? Don't you dare touch my sister. Sheng Mimi ignored him completely
and demanded the servants bring her silver needles. The loyal servants left behind by the old master and mistress hurriedly asked, "Madam, do you actually know medicine?" They had never heard of the second young mistress of the Sheng family knowing anything about medicine.
They were utterly terrified of what might happen. When Sheng Mimi replied that she did, Yaoyang immediately blocked her path, guarding the bed. You only know a tiny bit of medicine, and you dare stick needles in my sister? Are you trying to kill her?
Sheng Mimi let out a heavy sigh
And said with a deadly serious expression, "The cold poison is spreading aggressively.
If we don't treat her right now, the consequences will be fatal." Yaoyang was frantic, but he couldn't bring himself to trust this wicked stepmother. Why should I believe you? What if you're doing this on purpose because you want my sister dead?
Truly me give a word. If Zhao dies because of me,
I will pay with my own life. Or would you rather stand there and do absolutely nothing and just watch her die right in front of your eyes? Yaoyang looked at his agonizing, shivering sister and decided to take a gamble. Stepping aside, he warned Sheng Mimi to remember her words. If anything happens to Jiayi, I will never, ever let you off.
Sheng Mimi quickly pricked Jiayu's fingertips to let the blood flow.
But because of the extreme cold inside her, the blood had practically congealed and wouldn't flow out at all. Relying on her Badwan gene energy channeling techniques, she cleared the blockages in Jiayi's blood vessels. Moments later, Jiayi violently coughed up a huge pool of dark blood.
Ning Yuan suddenly felt like he had lost his gamble.
How could he believe a wicked stepmother's words?
Angered at pushing Sheng Mimi away, he snarled, "If you have a problem, take it out on me.
Whether it's apologizing or getting on my knees, I'll do it. What on earth did you do to my sister?"
Joy's cold poison suddenly flared up,
and her life hung in the balance. Sheng Mimi used her inner energy to force out the frozen blood. Unaware of the truth, Ning Youyang saw his sister coughing up blood and was convinced that Sheng Mimi, the wicked stepmother, had harmed her. Right at that moment,
零甲酉卧稿
weakly, she whispered, "Brother."
Ning Youyang, who was on the verge of exploding, instantly calmed down. "Jiayo, how are you? Where does it hurt?" Sheng Mimi's maid mumbled in frustration. Think people just don't know a kindness when they see one. "Madam, are you all right?"
Sheng Mimi shook her head.
Just then, the estate physician rushed in. This renowned old doctor was hired specifically to treat Ning Jiayo. After a thorough examination, His forehead was covered in sweat.
The young mistress's cold affliction is only getting worse as she grows older.
Fortunately, she coughed up that frozen blood. Otherwise, the young mistress's internal organs would have been completely frozen.
Young master, may I ask which physician administered the acupuncture to save her?
A flicker of gratitude crossed Ning Yuan's eyes as he looked at Sheng Mimi.
The estate physician immediately bowed to Sheng Mimi. May I ask, madam, who did you study medicine under?
Before transmigrating, Sheng Mimi was actually an attending emergency physician at a top-tier hospital.
Unfortunately, there was no medical equipment here, and this condition wasn't even her specialty.
So she humbly replied that she had no formal training and had merely studied some medical books on her own.
Hearing this, the physician assumed it was just a fluke and didn't press further.
As Sheng Mimi walked the physician out,
We asked if Ninjayu's cold affliction was truly incurable. The physician sighed, explaining that it was a congenital condition she had since birth.
every winter, the illness flares up.
Over the years, I have searched through countless ancient medical texts, but I haven't found a single clue. I'm afraid the young mistress won't even live to see her coming of age. Sheng Mimi secretly clenched her fists. Though this cold toxin is incredibly stubborn, but with her modern medical experience, pinpointing the root cause of the illness was no difficult task. No matter how rare or bizarre the disease, she was determined to figure it out.
Lin Ran stayed by his sister's bedside all night.
When dawn broke and he saw his sister wake up, he quickly asked how she was feeling. Do you still feel cold anywhere? When Sheng Mimi walked in carrying breakfast, she was greeted by the heartwarming sight of the siblings chatting.
She couldn't help but admire how incredibly close the two of them were.
Normally, when a brother and sister turn 7, they are supposed to move into separate courtyards. Yet these two still live together.
It must be because Ning Youyang just couldn't stop worrying about Ning Jiayou.
Oh well, I'll leave them be for now. Let the little brat do whatever he wants. Wearing a bright smile, she stepped forward and called out,
Jiaowei, wait baby, I brought you some red date soup. Come and have a taste.
For once, Ning Youyang didn't immediately start yelling at her when he saw her. It was a miracle. Ning Jiayou knew it was Sheng Mimi who had saved her last night using acupuncture, so she felt she should show some courtesy. Even so, her tone remained polite but distant as she said, "Thank you, madam. From now on, you can just call me Jiawei."
Sheng Mimi understood exactly what Ning Jiayou meant.
She didn't want to be called baby. With a gentle smile, she replied, "But I'm your mother, so of course you're my baby. There's nothing wrong with calling you that." She then quickly clarified to Ning Gaoyang, "And don't worry, you little brat. Don't even dream of me calling you baby. Only your sister is my precious little baby and angel." Hearing this, Ning Gaoyang retorted, "Good, that's for the best. I thank the heavens for that." Sheng Mimi let out a playful huff, handed the red date soap to Ning Jiayou, and told her to let her know if she needed anything else. Only then did she turn her gaze to Min Yaoyang. She gestured for him to follow her outside. Once they were outside, Ning Youyang spoke up defensively. "Listen, evil stepmother, I'm not going to the family school today. I have to stay and look after my sister, so don't even waste your breath. You even said last night that you would kneel and apologize to me." "All right, enough. I don't have time to argue with you."
Ning Naoyo, you still have any crickets left?
Liao Zhang immediately reacted.
Stepping back, "What are you talking about? I don't have any crickets." Sheng Mimi could easily see right through his guilty conscience. She smiled and tempted him. "Come on, since I saved your sister, why don't you lend me yours for a bit? I've got a surprise for you." Min Yaoyang looked defensive. "You definitely want to crush my General Vidra to death." Sheng Mimi feigned tears. "So that's the kind of cruel person I am to you?" Min Yaoyang snorted. "Like there's anything you wouldn't do. And who else would do that? If you want my great general, I suppose I could let you have him. But you have to promise me one thing."
Sheng Mimi teased. Well, let's hear it.
"But if you're trying to get back those things from your room?" "Give me a break," Ning Noyang protested defensively. "I didn't even mention that. I'll give you General Vojra. But the next time my sister suffers an attack of her cold illness, you have to save her. Again."
Sheng Mimi agreed without a second thought.
Though this kid is a bit of a troublemaker, his deep affection for his sister shows he's not entirely hopeless.
After Ning Goyan handed over the cricket,
He couldn't contain his curiosity. He desperately wanted to know what his wicked stepmother was planning to do with his General Vajra. It wasn't like she had suddenly developed a heart of gold and wanted to set it free. But the woman had been in her room for quite a while now, and there wasn't a single sound. What on earth was she doing? After a moment, the tightly shut door creaked open. Sheng Mimi stepped out dressed in men's clothes, shocking Ning Youyang so much his eyes nearly popped out. What on earth? What was she trying to do dressed like a man? He was simply too curious to let it go, so he stealthily followed her. Sheng Mimi quickly realized she had a little tail behind her. She stopped and turned around. "All right, come on out. I can see you." Sheng Mimi, dressed as a man and holding a cricket cage as she headed out, had completely piqued the little brat's curiosity. He stealthily followed her out the door, but he had not gone very far before he was spotted.
稳定要显示
Bracing himself, he argued, "I wasn't following you. I just wanted to see where you were taking my great general." Only me, if the cricket cage in her hand. "I'm heading to the market, of course." A wild idea suddenly flashed through Ning Goyang's mind. "You're not planning to use my great general to fight crickets, are you?" Sheng Mimi rolled her eyes at him. "What's the big deal? They swindled my son out of his money. Shouldn't I go teach them a lesson and win it all back?
Ning Yuan instantly grew excited.
He didn't even bother arguing about her calling him her son.
Then why did you dress up like this?
Sheng Mimi snorted.
A man's identity is way more convenient. What if using my real identity gets me into trouble? And so,
Sheng Mimi to Yelang to the market.
the market was just as packed as yesterday. Once they reached the cricket fighting arena, they overheard those guys complaining about how slow business was today.
All we got today are broke kids. If only a few more of those sucker-rich young masters from yesterday would show up. He still had a few hundred tiles on him that we hadn't drained yet.
Yulian's face flushed a blunt red.
Sheng Mimi seized the chance to lecture him. Did you hear that?
You lost your money, and they still call you a sucker? Now, watch and learn.
The two of them walked inside. Hey boss, got any seats left?
The cricket hustlers instantly recognized Jiu Yang. Their eyes lit up immediately. Yes, we do.
Yo, master, please, come on in.
Gilang shook his head and said he wasn't playing today. I'm just bringing my uncle to play today. Hearing this, the gang warming swarmed over to welcome Sheng Mimi.
They figured if a little kid was this rich, his uncle, being an adult, must be loaded.
Tamed pulled out her giant cricket. How do you play this?
I don't really know much about it.
Why don't you explain the rules?
Those guys looked at the cricket in Sheng Mimi's hand.
But couldn't see anything special about it.
It was just a little bigger than average.
Looks like we're going to make a killing again today.
After hearing the rules,
Sheng Mimi adopted a nothing ventured, nothing gained mindset. She wagered 500 tiles of silver, using the dowry banknote she had saved at the bottom of her chest.
Is anyone going to match my bet?
Even Yoyang gasped in shock.
The most he ever dared to bet on a single round was 200 taels.
Normally, his small bets were only 30 to 50 taels.
But this woman just threw down 500 tiles at once.
is she losing our Marcus's manners money?
The cricket fighting scammers grinned from ear to ear. As expected of the sucker young master's uncle, he was an even bigger sucker. Soon, the two crickets clashed in the bowl.
Sheng Mimi's cricket fought fiercer and fiercer.
And in just a few moves, it bit the casino's cricket to death.
Yaga jumped for joy, shouting,
We won! Those scammers still hadn't snapped out of it.
Sheng Mimi reached out and swept up the banknotes from both sides. The great general is amazing, Sheng Mimi said. Good game, everyone. She was about to leave when the scammers blocked her path. Whoa there, brother. Leaving after just one round? Where's the fun in that?
Why not play a few more rounds?
Since you're so good at this, brother, why not go all in this time and win big?
Sheng Mimi pretended to hesitate.
Going all in? I'm taking a huge risk here.
How about this? Whatever I bet, you match it. The scammers thought her previous win was just sheer luck.
Determined to win back their money with interest this time, they eagerly nodded in agreement.
Since Sheng Mimi was the one proposing.
They were ready to match any amount she put down.
Sheng Mimi knew exactly what they were up to. Wanted to bleed her dry.
Too bad for them. She was one step ahead. She went straight for it, betting all the 1,000 taels she had just won.
The scammers grinned wickedly.
They brought out their prized, undefeated champion cricket, one that had never lost a single match.
There's no way your luck can stay this good.
Savor your little victory while you can.
Because in a second, we'll have you on your knees begging for mercy. But reality slapped them hard. Their carefully chosen, undefeated champion was utterly crushed.
Yang couldn't help but cheer.
He grabbed Sheng Mimi's hand in excitement. Yes, we won again.
Yun Mimi didn't hesitate for a second and swept up the 2,000 taels in banknotes.
Man, trying to lose money is harder than it looks.
Want to go again? I'll go all in this time too.
The cricket hustlers knew they'd met their match.
You've got real skills, brother. We'll test our luck against you another day.
Sheng Mimi shard.
All right then, time for us to head back and grab some lunch. Watching the pair walk away,
The scammers were absolutely livid. They had just lost 1,500 tiles of their own money. This was far from over.
on the way back,
Sheng Mimi was just about to explain to Ning Yalang why their cricket was so unstoppable when she realized they were being tailed by the scammers. She grabbed Ning Yalang and bolted.
But the thugs quickly cut them off, leaping out from the shadows. Win our money and think you can just run? Leave the cash, and we might just let you walk.
Don't worry, wife.
Disguised as a man, Sheng Mimi had taken the little troublemaker, Ning Yalang, to the cricket fights. She not only won back everything he had lost to the scammers, but also swindled them out of another 1,500 taels.
but on their way home, the furious scammers cornered them.
Even while running for her life, Sheng Mimi didn't miss the chance to teach Ning Yaoyang a lesson.
See that? They're nothing but a bunch of con artists.
They drugged their crickets to make them aggressive.
They'll let you win 9 times out of 10.
But if you lose, they'll tail you.
And force you to leave behind all the money you won. You're the only idiot who still falls for a cheap scam like this every single day.
Ming Yuan shot back.
How do you know that anyway?
And besides, how did I manage to win 2 rounds in a row then?
Sheng Mimi chuckled mischievously. Because I went and drugged them beforehand.
My stuff is way more potent than their cheap tricks.
Ding Xiulian never expected this supposedly evil stepmother of his was actually trying to help him teach those swindlers a lesson.
He realized she might not be so bad after all. Slowly, his hostility toward Sheng Mimi began to fade. Slippery as eels, the two of them
Quickly broke through the swindler's blockade, rushing out onto the main street. Just then, they ran straight into a patrol of secret guards. Although these guards were a massive pain, they were still officers of the law. It was the perfect opportunity to use their presence to shake off those scammers. Out of shape and completely exhausted, Ning Youyang was already running on empty, and the cameras were closing in fast.
Without hesitation, Sheng Mimi grabbed Ning Youyang and dragged him into the very tavern the secret guards had just entered. Sure enough, seeing the secret guards inside, the scammers didn't dare follow them. For now, they were safe.
Just then, a scholar carrying a book crate walked past her.
Sheng Mimi blinked.
Wait, isn't that Ji Chansheng?
She had been looking for a way to trick him into coming to the Marquis manor, to be Ning Youyang's tutor.
She went to chase after him immediately, but accidentally crashed right into a tavern waiter. Whoa, watch it, lady!
What's the big rush? Oh, that hurt!
Sheng Mimi quickly apologized,
Explaining that she had spotted a scholar friend of hers and was trying to catch up.
but had lost him in the crowd.
Hearing this, the waiter scoffed. Oh, you know that poor scholar?
He's staying in the backyard woodshed.
He hasn't paid his rent in ages.
Lately, some wealthy lady offered to sponsor him, but the guy's got a screw loose. He actually turned down a golden opportunity most people could only dream of. Could this poor scholar be destined for greatness in the future? Sheng Mimi wondered. After letting her imagination run wild,
She became even more determined to secure him as a private tutor for Ning Youyang.
Sheng Mimi asked the waiter for directions to the backyard woodshed.
and headed over there, with Ning Youyang in tow. Ning Youyang's face immediately fell. Why are we looking for some poor scholar? Oh, wait, I get it.
Are you having an affair with him?
You evil stepmother!
I know exactly why you brought me here. You brought me here to catch a cheater, didn't you?
Sheng Mimi pat Ning Youyang on the head. Catch a cheater in your dreams.
I swear my crown for having the wildest imagination is about to be stolen by you, you little brat.
They soon found Ji Changsheng in the woodshed.
The wretched environment didn't affect his proud, aloof, and unyielding demeanor in the slightest.
Greetings, young master. I apologize for the sudden intrusion.
I am this little brat's uncle.
I've come on behalf of his mother,
He said he ran into you on the street yesterday.
and she is incredibly grateful for the lecture you gave him.
We were wondering if you'd be willing to come to our estate to tutor this brat in reading and writing. You'd only need to teach him for half a day each day. This way, it won't interfere with your own studies for the imperial exams.
What do you see, young master?
Chen Tianshou didn't answer right away. He sized Nin Youyang up from head to toe.
Ning Youyang protested loudly. I don't want a tutor! After all that, we weren't even here to catch a cheater.
She actually brought him here to hire a tutor. He was so furious.
Ji Kangsheng.
Noticing this, said, "Thank you for your high regard. Although I have passed the provincial exams, I have never taken on any students. I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to properly teach a young master of your noble house. You should find someone more qualified."
Sheng Mimi held Ning Youyang back so he couldn't escape, not looking discouraged at all. Even Liu Bei had to visit Zhuge Liang 3 times to recruit him after all.
That's right. I'm just passing along my sister-in-law's offer.
She is the mistress of the Chengrim Marquis mansion, and this brat is the eldest grandson of the mansion, Ning Youyang. If you change your mind in the future, you can come straight to the Chengrim Marquis mansion to find us.
Nothing is impossible in this world, as long as you set your mind to it.
The moment Ning Youyang got free, he barked arrogantly at Ji Kangsheng. You'd better remember what you said today. You could never teach this young master anyway.
Don't listen to his nonsense.
This young master doesn't need any tutor.
Don't you dare come looking for me at our estate. Otherwise, watch out, because I'll have someone break your legs.
Sheng Mimi helplessly covered Ning Youyang's cursing mouth once again.
She bid farewell to Ji Changsheng and left.
Ji Chanshou's mouth twitched. He really is a wild brat.
Compared to that noble young lady who suddenly showed up offering to sponsor him for no reason.
This tutoring offer is actually worth serious consideration. Once they were out, Ning Youyang was still throwing a fit. By what right did you hire a tutor for me without my permission?
Why didn't we leave through the front door?
Sheng Mimi replied. What if that swindler is waiting for us out front?
Don't be so foolish.
As they stepped out of the back door, they saw a carriage waiting.
Then Youyang suggests, let's hitch a ride on this carriage
And sneak our way out of this street. That way, those scammers won't be able to spot us. So Mimi shakes her head. Wait, someone is already inside, right?
If we just barge in, won't they kick us out?
Nin Youyang scoffs, saying they can just pay them off.
You just won so much money anyway.
Just throw 80 or 100 silver taels their way. Do you really think they would say no?
With that, he nimbly scrambles up into the carriage.
Left with no choice, Sheng Mimi has to follow him inside.
Sitting inside is a man wearing a mask.
He radiates a freezing keep-away aura. And from beneath the mask,
A pair of pitch-black, ice-cold, unfathomable eyes lock onto the two of them.
what is going on? Sheng Mimi gasps inwardly. Isn't this the cold-blooded, ruthless,
Speeder's killer.
whom almost nobody besides the Emperor
Has ever seen face-to-face? The feared commander of the secret guard?
to skip the scammers chasing them?
Sheng Mimi and Ning Youyang trying to hitch a ride on a carriage at the back alley.
But the moment they lift the curtain, they find none other than the notoriously brutal commander of the secret guard sitting inside. Ride. What ride?
Their lives are on the line.
Sheng Mimi reacts instantly.
and drags Ning Yang back. I had no idea the commander was here on official business. Forgive our intrusion. We will leave right away.
But before they can take a step, the commander's voice rings out. Halt.
Even the fearless Ning Yang loses his cool and starts to break.
His whole body begins to tremble. His grandparents used to tell him that the commander of the secret guard eats children for breakfast, warning him to run as far away as possible.
Yet here he is, serving himself up on a silver platter today. Is this where he gets eaten? The commander steps down from the carriage.
His voice is cold and ruthless. Barging in like this.
What absolute nerve.
Who are you?
Suddenly, a swarm of guards with unsheathed blades surrounds them.
Sheng Mimi instinctively pulls Ning Jiayang into her arms to shield him.
She figures she is the adult here and can at least try to think on her feet. Her priority is getting Ning Yang out safely, so she quickly blurts out, "Lord Commander, we belong to the Marquis of Changren's household. This is our young, Stepmother."
Ning Yang. If you don't believe me, Commander,
You can take me in for questioning. Just please, send our young master back home.
he is only a child.
Hearing Sheng Mimi's desperate pleas,
Bing Yalang's fear suddenly begins to fade. Is this wicked stepmother actually trying to protect me?
I am a grown man. I don't need her protection. Besides, I'm the eldest grandson of the Marquis of Changren. No matter how terrifying the NYC guard is, they wouldn't dare kill me for no reason.
His arrogant young master temper flared up.
Breaking free from Sheng Mimi's protective grasp, he yelled, "I don't need your help! If you want to arrest someone, arrest me!"
The chief commander sized Ning Yang up for a while before speaking. So, you are the eldest grandson of the Marquis of Changren?
Who was chasing you just now?
Tense with fear, Ning Yang stammered. I just went out to play with some crickets.
But those dirty scammers couldn't handle losing, so they turned on me. They chased us to get their money back. Hearing this, the chief commander stared at them until their skin crawled. Finally, he spoke. "Dismissed. Dare to cause trouble again, and you will be executed without mercy."
Sheng Mimi quickly apologized.
She then dragged Ning Yang and ran. Both of them were drenched in cold sweat. We must have forgotten to check the almanac today to run into that living nightmare. Ning Yang, are you all right?
Now that the danger had passed,
Ning Yang reverted to his usual cocky self.
of course, I wasn't scared of him at all.
I'm the eldest grandson of the Marquis of Changren.
Who in the capital would dare lay a finger on me?
Sheng Mimi couldn't help but chuckle. You little brat. You were actually pretty brave back there.
I guess I underestimated you.
hearing the praise, Ning Yang
Looked even more smug. The two chatted and laughed all the way back to the mansion, completely unaware that NYC guards had escorted them the entire way. Meanwhile, several men in black stood around a carriage, reporting the situation. "Commander, we have secretly escorted the madam and young master of the Marquis mansion back. Those cricket scammers have also been captured. Should we
Kill them.
Back at the Marquis mansion, Sheng Mimi was busy counting her winnings.
Excluding her starting capital of 500 tiles of silver from her dowry.
The remaining 1,500 tiles were pure profit. If they hadn't run into that terrifying chief commander of NYC guard,
Today's outing would have been absolutely perfect.
Nijuao muttered in disbelief. "You only won a bit of cash. Is it really that big of a deal?"
Sheng Mimi quickly corrected him.
"I didn't take you out to gamble. I took you out to teach how to spot a scam."
There won't be a next time.
Got it?
Here, take this 500 taels. It's the rental fee for using your champion cricket.
So your cricket didn't die in vain. And Go-young couldn't believe his ears.
His wicked stepmother was actually sharing the loot with him.
But his joy was short-lived.
Sheng Mimi snatched the banknotes from his hand again. "You're still so young. It's not safe for you to carry around so much money."
I'll keep the valuable ones safe for you. When we enter the palace, once you kick your terrible habit of wasting money, I'll give them back to you. Ning Youyang's entire world was turned upside down today. He didn't even want to argue with her anymore. This woman was such a drama queen. She could do whatever she wanted. He took his leave and went to see his sister, telling her everything that had happened while he was out with Sheng Mimi. Din Jiayu was so shocked her jaw dropped. She really protected you in front of the Dark Guard Commissioner? Isn't she afraid of that ruthless Dark Guard Commissioner? Being Yaoyang nodded firmly. Yeah, sister, do you think it's possible she actually knows the Dark Guard Commissioner? And they were just putting on a show for me? Bin Jiayu replied flatly. No way. The Dark Guard Commissioner is the Emperor's favorite. Even our grandparents from the Chongren Marquis mansion can't easily get him to do them a favor.
How could a concubine's daughter from the Sheng family ever get in touch with him? Ning Huaiyang let his imagination run wild again. Then, is it possible they have some sort of secret relationship?
Ning Jiaye froze for a moment. That's also impossible.
If they did, why would she marry into our Marquis mansion as a substitute bride?
Wouldn't it be much better for her to marry the Commissioner instead? By the way, is the Commissioner a man or a woman?
How old is he?
Could you tell?
Ning Huaiyang shivered just thinking about him. I only know he's a man, and he's very tall. I couldn't tell his age. He was wearing a terrifying demon mask. It was so scary.
I didn't dare to look at him too much. Ning Jiaye thought about it for a moment. Maybe she guessed the Commissioner would show some respect to our Chongren Marquis mansion. So she pretended to protect you, just to make us feel grateful. Ming Huaiyang suddenly saw the light. My sister is indeed the smart one. That must be it.
We agreed to split 500 tiles, but before the banknotes could even get warm in my hands, she confiscated them.
Unbelievable! Ban, Enjoy asked again. So, what kind of person is this poor scholar?
How is his learning, his speech, and his bearing? Min Youyang replied without hesitation. Definitely a busybody who meddles in things that are none of his business.
She shouldn't have asked her brother.
Her brother hated studying. Just the mention of things like learning made him rebellious.
This stepmother was definitely no simpleton. She could manage the household, audit account books, and even handle scammers outside. She even dared to put on an act in front of the commissioner, remaining completely fearless in the face of danger. Grandfather and grandmother aren't here right now?
She had to stay on absolute high alert to deal with her.
Brother, tomorrow is her first visit back to her family, and both of us will go with her.
See what she's really up to.
The next day, Sheng Mimi was startled awake by a nightmare. He dreamed of the day the original host's birth mother died. Yet again.
The original host had died from sheer grief,
which was how he ended up transmigrating into this body. Unfortunately, he still couldn't figure out why concubine Zhao had jumped into the well.
After composing himself,
he had Shaguosi help him get dressed. Today marked 3 days since his wedding.
According to local custom, this was the day a newlywed was supposed to return to their family home.
Zhao Wakim kindly suggested that he wait for the young Wakis to return before making the trip,
so he wouldn't have to go back alone and end up as the laughingstock of the town. But Sheng Mi dismissed the idea. I'm going back today, and that's that.
The entire capital knows my husband. The young Marquis Chongren is out of town.
What is there to fear? Besides, I have a few things to take care of on this trip anyway.
But the moment he stepped onto the carriage, he found Ning Youyang and Ning Jiayo already sitting inside,
taken completely by surprise. What are you two doing in my carriage? Today was his homecoming day.
Choli had fully prepared himself to wage war at the Sheng family mansion. But the moment he climbed aboard, he found these two little munchkins sitting there in dead silence.
Ning Yaoyang lifted his chin defiantly. We're only accompanying you back on father's behalf.
So don't go getting all emotional.
Sheng Mi couldn't be bothered to deal with this brat, who practically begged for a beating every time he opened his mouth. Instead, he looked at Ning Jiayo with surprise. Jiayo, sweetie, are you feeling any better? Hearing this, she nodded. Much better. Seeing this, he swallowed his words of sending them back. All right then, stay cooped up at home all day is boring anyway. You might as well tag along and have a meal with me at the Sheng family mansion. Even though he knew these two kids probably had some tricks up their sleeves, having company on his homecoming trip made him feel a lot less lonely. Besides, there was no way these two little rascals could escape his grasp.
Everyone was satisfied with the arrangement.
Halfway through the journey, Sheng Mi suddenly ordered the carriage to stop. He needed to buy some things from a pharmacy.
Seeing this, Nini Yaoyang eyed him suspiciously. What are you buying medicine for?
Xiaomi was completely speechless.
What does it matter to you what I buy, you little brat?
With that, he headed straight into Huchon Hall.
He listed off several expensive medicinal herbs and had the shopkeeper pack them up.
Then, he instructed his maid, Yang Guozi, to split the herbs into 2 portions.
Take 1/2 to the Sheng mansion and bring the other half back to the Marquis estate.
Watching this from the carriage, Ning Youyang's mind went wild.
A dark conspiracy theory immediately popped into his head.
Did he just buy some expensive poison to finish me off?
You know, people say that's exactly how a wicked stepmother gets rid of stepchildren she can't stand.
I don't think so.
If she wanted to buy poison,
she would have at least done it behind our backs.
But she did it right out in the open, with the driver and servants watching. Plus, since she knew how to give me acupuncture, she must have some medical training. If she knows medicine, it makes sense for her to buy some herbs. Ming Yayan thought about it and realized she was right. Even the most wicked stepmother wouldn't be this brazen. But still, we can't let our guard down. Before long, the carriage pulled up and stopped at the back door of the Sheng residence. Ming Yaoyang instantly lost his temper. Hey, wicked stepmother, what is the meaning of this? Are you seriously making us use the back door? We are the legitimate eldest grandson and granddaughter of the prestigious Chongren Marquis mansion. How dare you try to sneak us in through the back alley like thieves? Sheng Mimi calmly explained that she had some business to take care of inside. She told the two of them to take the carriage and servants around to the front gate and wait for her there. As they watched Sheng Mimi and her maid slip away, Ling Yang rubbed his hands together, his eyes narrowing. What could she possibly be doing that's so secret she has to sneak through? The more she tries to hide, the more I want to know. Come on, sis. Let's go spy on her.
She's probably up to no good. Ming Jiawei was actually pretty curious too. This stepmother of theirs never played by the rules.
You're right. We should definitely follow her and see what she's up to. Sheng Mimi made her way quietly through the property until she stopped in front of a rundown, dilapidated courtyard. She pulled a rusty old key from her sleeve, unlocked the creaking door, and slipped inside with her maid, Yao Guozi. She softly called out to the person inside. Enshu? After a moment, a boy with a vacant look in his eyes stumbled out of the house. His hair was a messy, disheveled nest. This was Shaoganji, the original host's younger brother. He had been so bright and clever since he was a child.
He used to share a very close bond with the original host, but unfortunately, the death of concubine Zhao was too devastating a blow.
He was literally scared out of his mind. Now he spent his days in a daze, completely lost. He didn't even recognize anyone. The original host's father, Sheng Hanlin, feared people would find out about his foolish son and mock him, so he locked him away, refusing to even call a doctor to treat him. Ever since Sheng Mimi transmigrated into this body, she had the medical skills, but zero money to buy high-quality medicinal herbs. Her monthly allowance of just 1 silver tae could barely keep her brother alive. Although he wasn't her biological brother, since she'd taken over this body, she naturally had to take on this responsibility. She would take good care of him. Gently stroking her foolish brother's head, she murmured, "Anshi, sweetie, let your big sister feel your pulse."
Zhao Guzi sighed with pity. The fourth young master is so miserable.
"Ever since you got married, I bet nobody has even bothered to bring him proper meals." Mimi replied with a casual, "I'm fine. From now on, his life is finally going to get better." She was absolutely sure of it.
If the Shen family agreed,
He could bring Shalanzi back to the Marquis's estate to raise him. But if they refused, she would have no choice but to use her authority as the Marquis's wife to pressure them. At the very least, she could ensure her brother was well-fed, clothed, and protected from bullies. She had already noticed the 2 pairs of eyes spying on her through the crack in the door. Smirking, she pretended not to see them. Meanwhile, Ning Yayong whispered to his sister in awe, "Sister, it looks like our wicked stepmother actually knows how to heal people."
her acupuncture skills look incredibly practiced.
She bought such expensive herbs. She must have brought them back to cure this fool. The kids then found Xiao Guozi, who was brewing the medicine, and asked him who the fool was.
Why is our wicked stepmother giving him acupuncture?
Xiao Guozi whispered, "That's the 4th young master of our household, our madam's biological younger brother. He ended up like this after suffering a terrible shock when his mother passed away. No one in the family cares about him, so he's had a miserable life. Thankfully, our madame, his own sister, has been treating him. That's the only reason he survived until today. Fless,
All right, I have to keep brewing this medicine. I'll take my leave." The 2 little kids stood frozen, their hearts in turmoil. No father to love her, no mother to protect her. It turned out their wicked stepmother had it even worse than they did.
sister, maybe our wicked stepmother isn't so bad after all." He had originally come to find fault with her. But finding they shared a similar plight, they couldn't help but feel sorry for her. 15 minutes later,
Sheng Mimi was patiently coaxing her foolish brother to drink his medicine.
she was sweating profusely from the effort, when suddenly, a delicate handkerchief gently wiped the sweat from her forehead. She turned to look at the 2 little kids, completely stunned. Did the sun rise from the west today?
You're actually wiping my sweat instead of yelling at me? Ning Yaoyang stubbornly blurted out. I just didn't want the sweat to get in your eyes.
Otherwise, you might choke this fool to death while feeding him.
Sheng Mimi burst into laughter. Thank you, you two.
Now that they were starting to see her in a better light, her plan to win them over would be much easier. Right at that moment,
Her brother suddenly clutched his head and shrieked. Hurry, go save Mother. Someone is trying to hurt Mother.
Someone pushed her into the well.
Before Sheng Mimi could even celebrate her brother's sudden moment of clarity, she was completely stunned by his words. After downing the bowl of medicine,
Her foolish brother had briefly regained his sanity.
crying out, Hurry, save Mother.
someone wants to hurt her.
Someone pushed her into the well.
Sheng Mimi tried to soothe her trembling brother, her mind racing. The very first thing he said upon waking up was actually about what happened 4 years ago. Michel Juzzy clutched his head with a painful shriek, instantly reverting back to his usual foolish state. No matter how much Sheng Mimi questioned him, he wouldn't speak another word. He could only babble incomprehensible nonsense. Sheng Mimi sighed in relief. Those expensive herbs really were worth every penny.
It was only his first dose, yet it had already allowed her brother to briefly regain his sanity.
But Sheng Anji's words left Sheng Mimi's heart in utter turmoil. If their mother had indeed been murdered, could Sheng Anji's madness also be the work of some hidden enemy?
Concubine Zhao has been dead for 4 years, and Zhenghazi has been out of his mind for exactly 4 years too.
If he really knows the truth behind her death, the moment he regains his sanity, someone will definitely try to silence him. It is better to hold off on curing him for now. After all, playing mad is my little brother's only shield.
So, Sheng Mimi immediately orders Xiao Baozi to stop brewing the rest of the medicine.
She lies, claiming the herbs aren't right for his condition, leaving Ning Yaoyang completely baffled. He speaks up. Wait, didn't he just drink it fine? It's such a waste of expensive medicine.
And you have the nerve to call me a spoiled brat?
I think you're the one throwing money away. Shoving the 2 little ones out of the room, Sheng Mimi snaps. What do you kids know anyway?
Go, get out of here.
The waters in the Shrek household run far too deep and dangerous. For now, it is best not to drag these 2 innocent kids into this mess. After locking up the courtyard, Kil tells the 2 little ones to head back to the Marquis Manor. She insists she doesn't need them to accompany her for her bridal visit home. But Ning Yaoyang refuses to back down. He deliberately provokes his wicked stepmother, sneering. What, are you afraid I'll cause a scene at your family's house? Are you afraid I'll embarrass you? Playing along, Sheng Mimi sighs. Yes, exactly. Then she turns to her attendants and orders them to escort the 2 little masters safely back to the manor.
Ning Yuan wants to argue further, but his sister, Ning Jaiwei, pulls him back.
Since we're clearly not welcome here,
Let's just go home.
only then does Sheng Mimi turn and step through the grand gates of the Sheng Manor. Her cheap excuse of a father had specifically ordered a grand welcome for her first visit home as a married woman. So, for early morning, Madame Sheng has been sitting in the main hall sipping tea, waiting with her entourage. Impatient, her sister Sheng Lower can't help but complain.
Mother, the missing young Marquis isn't even back yet. He's definitely not coming with her. Why do we all have to sit here wasting our time waiting for her?
Madame Sheng replies calmly. Let's wait a little longer. If she doesn't show up, everyone can leave.
Just as the words leave her mouth, Sheng Mimi slowly glides in, dressed in stunning, luxurious silk robes.
Her stepmother, Madame Sheng, always has a scheme up her sleeve. Putting on her best act as a loving mother, she rises with a warm smile to welcome her.
Don't.
Sheng Lo blurted out.
Second sister, the young Marquis isn't with you? You actually dared to show up for your bridal visit all by yourself?
Sheng Mimi smiles gracefully. Today is the day a married daughter is supposed to visit her family.
Just because my husband is away, does that mean I'm not allowed to come home?
Or is it that you, my dear elder sister, simply don't want me back?
Choked by the retort, Sheng Lo's face flushes with anger.
She sneers inwardly. What is she so proud of?
She's only putting on a grand show for outsiders.
So what if she married into the prestigious Marquis manor?
In the end, she's still just a miserable woman, living like a widow. Seeing this, Madame Sheng also spoke up to take a jab at her on behalf of her daughter. Mimi, you have completely wronged your sister.
She was only worried that you're too thin-skinned.
And that returning to your family home alone would make you a laughingstock. After all, everyone says a new bride returning alone is a terrible omen.
Being all alone like that, it means your marriage won't last, and your home will never know peace.
Sheng Mimi sighed to herself. She decided to let them babble their useless nonsense for now.
She still hadn't fully investigated certain things yet, so she couldn't afford to burn her bridges with them just yet.
Suddenly, an arrogant voice echoed from the doorway. Who said she's returning alone?
My sister and I are here to accompany our stepmother on her visit.
How on earth is she all alone? You're the ones whose family is a complete mess.
Everyone looked over to see a pair of boy-girl twins, dressed in exquisite, luxurious clothes, walking in hand.
The Sheng family was completely stunned.
Sheng Mimi was stunned too. Why are these two little rascals here?
Didn't she tell them to go back home? Is the sun rising from the west today? They're actually standing up for me?
The most shocked person in the room was Sheng Lo.
How is this possible?
Don't the rumors say that the two children from the Marquis's estate are spoiled, vicious brats?
Why would you ever accompany her on her family visit?
Nechayo let out the cold snort. What? Are we not allowed to come? Our families are now joined by marriage. It is only natural for relatives to drop by and visit.
Or is the Sheng family not welcoming us? Madame Sheng hurriedly stepped forward.
Oh, we wouldn't dare. We never expected the young master and young mistress of the Marquis's estate to grace us with their presence. Please forgive our lack of welcome.
Servants, quick, serve the tea.
Ning Yalang boldly swaggered over and sat on the head guest chair. Do you have any good tea?
Let this young master have a taste.
I'm going to sit right here.
And I want to see who dares to bully my stepmother.
Ninja Yo, on the other hand, gave Madame Sheng a polite junior's curtsy.
Having received this greeting, the grandmother felt utterly flattered and overwhelmed.
She somewhat regretted listening to her daughter and letting Sheng Mimi marry in her place, only for Mimi to gain control of the household right away. The two children even accompanied the new bride for her return visit.
And I already called her stepmother after only 3 days of knowing her, and even backed her up. Yo Mimi looked at the two little munchkins in a great mood. These siblings had certainly made her proud. She cleared her throat. Apologies, everyone. We must have made fools of—
These two children are just a bit too clingy.
I told them not to come, but they insisted on following me.
Sheng Lo was completely dazed by the sight. How could this be? She is just a lowly daughter of a concubine.
And she's just a stepmother.
Shouldn't she be restricted at every turn and treated as second rate?
Why does she get all the benefits from a marriage I threw away? And now she has the nerve to pick a fight.
My dear second sister, you really ought to thank me.
If I hadn't fallen ill on my wedding day,
how could you have ever had the chance to marry into the Marquis estate?
Just as Sheng Mimi was about to speak, Ning Youyang cut her off, his voice dripping with displeasure.
What is the meaning of this?
So the one who actually had the marriage contract with our family was you? Thank goodness the one who married in wasn't you. You're so ugly. And you actually wanted to be my stepmother?
Even if you did join our family, you'd only be fit to carry my shoes.
These words instantly reminded Sheng Lo of her pathetic, miserable existence when she married into the Marquis estate in her past life.
Comparing that to how Sheng Mimi was now holding all the power,
she completely lost her mind in a fit of rage and lunged to strike Ning Youyang. In her past life, no matter how hard Sheng Lo tried to suck up to Ning Jiayong and his sister, it was never enough.
The two kids made her life a living hell every single day, screaming at her to get out of the estate.
Yet now, those same two little brats were fiercely defending Sheng Mimi. They even spat in her face, telling her she wasn't worthy. You're so ugly, and you wanted to be my stepmother?
Even if you did join our family, you'd only be fit to carry my shoes.
All the bottled-up agony of her past life exploded inside her. She raised her hand to strike Ning Jiayong, but Sheng Mimi grabbed her wrist mid-air. What do you think you're doing?
How dare you? You actually have the nerve to lay a hand on the young master of the Marquis estate?
Only then did Sheng Lo snap back to reality. Terrified of the consequences, she collapsed to the ground. She immediately scrabbled for an excuse.
I didn't mean to. He was clearly the one who insulted me first. Sheng Mimi was truly amazed by her sheer ability to lie right to her face.
If I hadn't stopped you in time,
This slap would have landed right on my son's face.
The Marquis estate of Tungern
is noble royalty of this dynasty.
Even though these two children are young,
There are still of precious noble blood.
How dare anyone from the Sheng household think they can just beat and scold them?
Looking at his stepmother fiercely defending them at that moment, Ning Youyang felt something shift inside him. His rebellious defenses began to crumble. My evil stepmother just protected me again.
Seeing that her daughter was completely in the wrong, Madame Sheng panicked. She desperately scrambled to find a way to get her out of there. Otherwise, this went on, that wretched girl would actually pin a massive crime on them.
Waving her hand frantically, she ordered the nanny. The eldest miss is just delirious from her illness. She's talking complete nonsense. Take her back to her room, right now, and get a doctor to look at her.
But Sheng Mimi wasn't about to let them off the hook so easily.
She barked in order to halt them in their tracks.
Madame Sheng forced a fake smile, stammering, It's all a
Second sister, you know that Luor was very sick before.
Look, she hasn't even fully recovered yet.
Sheng Mimi wasn't about to give her any face. She tried to lay a hand on my son, and everyone here saw it with their own eyes. Shouldn't Lady Sheng give me an explanation? No matter how annoyed Lady Sheng was, Sheng Mimi's status was completely different. Now,
She could only force a smile and ask, What kind of explanation do you want?
Sheng Mimi replied, Just let my servant slap her back. Returning the favor. Isn't that the rule of the Marquis mansion?
向各位，我搜酒语啊，需劳氏和搜特一件。上禀你儿有愧罪。
You're nothing but a cheap substitute bride. What right do you have to order me around? The moment the words left her mouth,
She was hit with a vicious slap from Sheng Mimi. You know what? No need to trouble the servant.
I'll do the honors myself. This slap is for my son.
How dare you disrespect the young master of the Marquis mansion?
I had to teach you a lesson you won't forget.
Clutching her burning cheek, Sheng lower
Pointed at Sheng Mimi, seething with rage. You actually dared to hit me? Another sharp slap was her only response.
Her arrogant attitude was instantly knocked right out of her. This is to help Lady Sheng teach you some manners. Substitute bride. Is that a word you're allowed to say?
This is your punishment for insulting the dowager of the Marquis mansion.
Make sure you don't do it again, or I'll have to teach you another lesson.
Instantly dropping her domineering, powerful aura.
He looked at Lady Sheng with an innocent face. Stepmother, you won't blame me, right? I only wanted to help you teach my sister some manners. Fortunately, she was only talking about me this time.
But if she offends someone else in the future, it won't be settled so easily. Lady Sheng's heart ached for her daughter, but she couldn't afford to burn her bridges right now. She could only force a polite smile and have the servants help her daughter back to her room. Looking at Sheng Mimi now, she regretted her choices more and more.
The moment she married in, she took control of the household management,
which meant she had already won over her parents-in-law. And now, she even has a tight grip on the eldest grandson and granddaughter of the Marquis mansion.
Doesn't this mean the entire Chungran Marquis mansion is now in Sheng Mimi's hands?
She used to seem so quiet and obedient. Who would have thought she'd be so incredibly scheming? I really shouldn't have agreed to let her be the substitute bride back then. Seeing that her point was made, Sheng Mimi announced that everything was going perfectly fine with her new family. She wanted to go bow and pay her respects before Aunt Zhao's memorial tablet, so that she could rest easy in the afterlife. Lady Sheng thought about it for a moment, before finally agreeing. Since the Sheng family had ruled Aunt Zhao's death a suicide, they claimed she brought bad luck, banning her from the ancestral hall. Her tablet was relegated to a tiny, neglected courtyard. How absolutely tragic. After lighting the incense, Mimi casually fished for information from Lady Sheng, asking how her little brother, Anqi, was doing. Now that I'm married, I hope no one is neglecting him. Lady Sheng had no clue, but being the sly woman she was, she instantly lied. Don't you worry, Anqi is doing wonderful here in the manor. I make sure he gets 3 hot meals a day, and I'm even planning to assign a personal servant to cater to his every need. Mimi didn't call her out on her lies. Instead, she played along. With Anji's condition, he hates, from strangers around. Tell you what, I'll take Ansi back to the Marquis' manor to stay with me for a few days. I'll look after him myself, so we won't have to trouble anyone here in the Sheng family. Guilt flared up in Lady Sheng, and she immediately objected.
Oh, that would never do.
You just married into the Marquis' family a few days ago, and you already want to bring along a burden like him? If the old Marquis and his wife find out, they're bound to be furious. Besides, Anqi is a young master of the Sheng family. If he were healthy and whole, that would be one thing. But in his current state, how could we let him trouble your in-laws? Hearing this, Mimi didn't push the matter. Her goal today was simply to leverage her new status at the Marquis' manor, to pressure Lady Sheng into treating Anzi better. That way, his days at the Sheng residence wouldn't be so unbearable. Just then, a servant arrived to announce that her deadbeat father had returned, and dinner was served. He requested they head to the main dining hall. Throughout dinner, her spineless father kept piling food onto young Youyang's plate, desperately trying to suck up to him. The man was the absolute definition of a shameless opportunist. Mimi realized she had finally figured out how to make the best use of her 2 stepkids. If the Sheng family weren't such a treacherous snake pit, she would definitely bring the kids along with her next time. Her deadbeat father then cleared his throat, trying to lecture Mimi on how to be a dutiful daughter. Don't you dare think your wings are fully grown just because you're married to a Marquis. In the future, you must treat these 2 children as your own. Drop the attitude and stop putting on airs, or else I won't hesitate to use our family's physical punishment to teach you a lesson.
He deliberately raised his voice so the two little ones could hear him. He thought that no matter how much they liked her, she was still just a stepmother, and the kids would naturally harbor some fear and resentment toward her. But if he asserted his authority over her in front of the siblings,
we would view him as their ultimate protector, making it so much easier for him to exploit them for his own gain later on.
Who would have thought that the moment she finished speaking, Ning Yang slammed the table and snapped. What do you mean by that? My sister and I are only sitting down to eat with you for our stepmom's sake.
And you actually thought you could lecture her?
That deadbeat father from the Sheng family scolded Sheng Mimi right in front of the kids, thinking he could suck up to them.
But he had no idea his little scheme was about to backfire. Completely. Even though he was utterly shocked that the Marquis's master would defend Mimi so fiercely. Being the cunning old fox he was, he instantly changed his tune, stammering, No, that's not what I meant at all.
I'm usually so good to Mimi. I was just worried she might be giving you guys a hard time.
But the clever Ming Jiawei shut Master Sheng down immediately, saying, If we hadn't accompanied our stepmom back to her maiden home today,
we wouldn't have known the Sheng family was so dramatic.
Since our stepmother has married into our Marquis manor, she belongs to us now. No matter what she does,
the Marquis manor will back her up. There is absolutely no reason she should still be controlled by the Sheng family.
Hearing this, Master Sheng and his wife were once again shocked by Sheng Mimi's influence. To think these two notorious troublemakers would defend her like this. They quickly played along, saying, We only did it out of concern. Our worry got the better of us.
By the time the meal was over, the Sheng family's jaws were sore from all their fake smiling. Only Sheng Mimi was genuinely happy and relaxed.
Bringing this brother and sister along was definitely the right move. She'd been annoyed with her deadbeat father for a long time anyway. His own sign became simple-minded.
Yet he not only refused to get him treated, but even complained that the boy's condition embarrassed him.
Seeing him in such an awkward, difficult spot now, he completely deserved it.
After exchanging a few more superficial pleasantries with the Shengs,
she took the two little ones and headed back to the Marquis manor.
The moment they left the estate,
the fake smile vanished from Madame Seng's face,
and her eyes flashed with pure malice.
My lord, how did Mimi get such a solid foothold in the Marquis manor so quickly? The Marquis manor is so grand and powerful, yet those two children are already defending her so fiercely. Could she end up using the Marquis manor's status to stop listening to us entirely?
Master Sheng let out a cold snort. Ningjimo is probably dead anyway.
Right now, they're just a dying giant clinging to their past glory.
Besides, with that simpleton of a son still here in our Sheng manor,
she has no choice but to obey us.
Meanwhile, in the carriage back to the Marquis manor,
Sheng Mimi sincerely thanked the two kids. Ning Jiawei replied, No need to be polite, madam.
Since you've already married into the Marquis manor, we won't stand by and let anyone bully you. Ning Yang, acting all proud and stubborn, added, Don't get the wrong idea. We didn't help you today because we're on your—
My sister and I simply agreed that we can stop trying to kick you out of the Marquis manor.
But on one condition. We mind our own business, and you mind yours.
You don't get to control us, and we won't bother you.
Sheng Mimi immediately refused him with a straight face.
No way.
I promised your grandparents that I would help raise and discipline you two. I'm not a person who breaks my word. Hearing this, Ning Yang flared up again. Evil stepmother, don't you push it.
We already took a step back. How dare you still be so arrogant?
In Jiawei's gaze also turned icy cold.
Sheng Mimi smiled. Though I am here to discipline you, I won't have people spying on you all day.
You have the freedom to do whatever you want.
I only have two requirements. First, study hard. Second, do not violate your Ning family rules. That's all. As for squandering money, gambling,
frequenting brothels, street fighting, and so on, of these are clearly written in the Ning family rules. As for anything else, we'll see as we go.
Lei Yang protested. I hate studying more than anything.
Unfazed, Sheng Mimi patiently guided him.
Then, what is your absolute favorite thing to do? Min Yarang's mood instantly brightened up. Oh, there's plenty. Riding horses, archery, hunting, playing pitchpod, kicking footballs, eating, drinking, and having fun. I'm good at all of it. Hearing this, Sheng Mimi remarked. Those do sound like fun, but if that is all you know how to do, others will only look down on you and say Ning Yang is a useless, uneducated slacker. But if you were highly educated and still knew how to enjoy those activities, they would praise you, saying you are indeed an elegant, all-capable young noble.
Lan Yang, who utterly despised study, scoffed. So what? What if I just want to be a useless, uneducated slacker?
She merely fell silent.
This kid actually takes pride in being a useless slacker.
It seems I can't force him.
I have to outsmart him.
So, she spoke up. If you remain uneducated, how do you expect to inherit and manage the Marquis's estate?
If Kunger Marquis estate is handed over to you, you won't be able to protect it. Your grandparents won't even be able to rest in peace. Besides, your little sister is already in frail health. Who will protect her then?
At this, Ning Yang's confidence wavered significantly. I don't need to study to protect my sister. Besides, my grandparents will live a long life, and I still have father. Standing nearby, Ning Jiawei couldn't help but chime in. I don't need brother to protect me.
They can protect him instead. I just want my brother to live a happy and carefree life. I don't want him to suffer.
or struggle. My brother should be free to do whatever he wants.
Sheng Mimi looked at Nino Yang intently.
Did you hear that? Your sister's health is failing, and she suffers from a chronic cold affliction. Yet, she still wants to protect you.
Meanwhile, you are perfectly healthy. Yet all you think about is eating, drinking, and playing.
Don't you feel any shame?
Ling Jialan's biggest weakness was his sister. Hearing this, he blurted out instinctively. But will studying really let me protect her? It's not like studying can cure her illness.
Sheng Mimi was waiting for exactly those words. Patting her chest, she promised. But I can cure your sister. You just focus on studying hard, and I will focus on treating your sister's illness.
The two siblings looked at Sheng Mimi in utter shock. You can cure her?
Because of this trip to the Sheng estate, the two little ones completely changed their minds about their stepmother, Sheng Mimi. They finally agreed to a truce.
Sheng Mimi seized the chance to egg Ning Yang on saying, as long as you can pass the entry-level exam and bring home a scholar title.
Think Jiao's cold affliction entirely to me. Despite Sheng Mimi's confidence,
Ning Jiayu wasn't nearly as optimistic. If my illness could be cured,
the Marquis's estate would have cured it long ago with all their power.
You can't cure me.
Sheng Mimi pumped her fist to encourage the two kids. I will study hard to find a cure, and your brother will study hard to succeed.
And you will work hard to fight off your illness.
We all need a goal in life. Isn't it great if the three of us work toward it together?
Besides, your brother loves you so much. Surely he can handle a simple request like studying for your sake.
If me studying hard could cure Shanganji's mental illness, I'd even study to become the top female scholar.
Stung by her words, Ning Yang
finally stopped hesitating.
Fine, it's just studying.
I'm not stupid. Even my wicked stepmother dares to brag about becoming the top female scholar.
Could I, Ning Yang, possibly be worse than her? No way.
seeing her plan work, Sheng Mimi smirked. I only need you to take first place in the entry-level exam for now. I'm not asking you to be a champion in both literature and martial arts like your father.
Hearing this, Ning Yang snorted in disdain. Just a measly entry-level exam? How hard can that be? Let's pinky swear. It's a deal. If you go back, on your word, I'll never let you hear the end of it. The three of them locked pinkies. Ning Jia watched with mixed emotions. Her stepmother was using reverse psychology on him.
But studying is so grueling. Her brother could barely stay awake during the old tutor's boring lectures at the academy.
Could her brother really pull it off? Still, it was a good thing her stepmother did this.
At least her brother wouldn't grow up to be the useless, uneducated fool everyone expected him to be.
So they got off the carriage and returned to the Marquis's estate.
What they didn't know was that agents from the secret guard had followed them the entire way.
Only when the carriage passed through the Marquis's gates.
Did they stop at a nearby alley? Commander, should we follow them inside? The man inside the carriage replied. No need. This new mistress of the Trongren Marquis mansion barely mentioned the Strong family.
It seems Shang Jianan's scheme to distribute counterfeit coins in the capital
is something a concubine's daughter like her knows nothing about. Though she is quite interesting. The driver was bewildered. His commander's focus seemed to have drifted. Commander,
if you are interested, I can have our spies infiltrate the estate to watch her and see how she teaches those kids.
An emotionless voice replied. Sure, why not?
Aren't they looking for a tutor?
Perhaps they'll be looking for a martial arts instructor. 2.
Send someone to look into the cause of death of concubine E of the Sheng mansion 4 years ago.
After all, this new Marianis is also a daughter of the Sheng family. When the time comes, she will be extremely useful to us. Keep an eye on the carriage driver for now. His subordinate was puzzled. Does it really have to be this complicated, sir? Can't we just slip him into the Marquis's mansion as a random servant? He had 10,000 questions swirling in his mind, but he didn't dare utter a single word. He finally complied and backed away. Meanwhile, inside the Marquis's mansion,
Sheng Mimi was eating and laughing with her 2 little munchkins
when a servant rushed in to report. My lady, there is a poor scholar at the gate asking to see you. He says he wants to apply to be a tutor for our household.
Hearing this, Sheng Mimi's eyes lit up.
She thought she would have to beg him several times before he'd agree.
Who would have thought Ti Chengsheng would show up so soon? She quickly asked, where is he? Once she heard he was waiting in the front hall,
she smiled warmly at the 2 little munchkins. You two, come with me to meet your new tutor. When they reached the front hall, they saw Ji Changsheng standing there with his hands clasped behind his back.
His back was as straight as a ramrod, as he stood admiring the paintings on the wall. Mr. Ji, we meet again. This
Sheng Changsheng snapped out of his thoughts and bowed respectfully. Greetings, Lady Sheng. I have given your kind invitation a lot of thought.
I would be honored to tutor your children.
However, I do have a few requests. First, you do not need to pay me any wages.
All I ask for is a quiet room and simple meals.
I am currently just a candidate preparing for the imperial exams.
I plan to sit for next year's spring examinations, so my main focus must remain on my own studies. Therefore, I won't be able to tutor the young master all day long, but please rest assured, Lady Sheng, I can easily dedicate 2 to 4 hours a day to teaching. And when I am tutoring, I promise to give it my absolute all. Sheng Mimi deeply admired Ji Changsheng's character and learning. Having someone like him tutor the children was a true honor for their household. Just as she was about to speak, her stepson, Ning Yang, rudely interrupted. No way. I don't want this man to be my tutor.
Weren't you completely against coming to our mansion to teach me before?
Why the sudden change of heart now?
You're just a poor scholar. Yet you walk in here refusing any payment.
Instead, you insist on moving into our mansion. Who's to say you don't have some hidden, devious motive? What if you're taking advantage of my father's absence? Just to scheme your way close to my stepmother?
Sheng Mimi was completely speechless.
据讲想一文笔干那3个到此。
If you're determined to frame me, any excuse will do. Since that's the case,
Then I shall not trouble you any further, Madam Sheng. Please find someone else.
Hearing this, Sheng Mimi grew anxious. She grabbed Ning Yayang and gave him a light smack.
You brat. I went through so much trouble to find you a tutor.
apologize here right now.
Menjagu, who had been watching silently from the side, suddenly asked, Scholar,
May I ask where you were from? And what was your rank in the provincial examination?
Ji Chansheng cupped his hands and replied humbly, This humble scholar is from Yangzhou. I was the provincial top scorer of Jianjia 2 years ago. Ning Zhaoya gasped in disbelief. How is that possible? You were the top scorer of the province. How could you end up like this?
Ji Kongsheng replied candidly. This humble scholar does not care for social networking and currying favor.
Although the top scorer is awarded prize money, I lost both my parents at a young age and was raised on the kindness of my fellow villagers. The prize money the government awarded me was all given back to the villagers who raised me. Even my monthly stipend from the imperial court is donated to them.
Xing Mimi realized the truth. So that's how it is.
She had only heard that Ji Changxiong was a provincial top scorer,
But she never expected his life story to be so full of hardship.
in such a harsh environment. Most people would struggle just to survive, yet he actually managed to rank first in the exams.
Ninja Ye, hearing this, spoke up to persuade her brother. Brother Yalang,
I believe this tutor is a man of truly upright character.
申提米有送给宁瑶瑶一个箭头纳戒。瑶瑶，这就踢的。
Hurry up and greet Tutor Ji. Now that this poor scholar, Ji Changxiong, had been approved by both his stepmother and sister,
Ling Qiang stared blankly at him for a moment.
before reluctantly stepping forward to bow. Your student pays his respects, tutor. Seeing him bow respectfully, Ji Changxiong felt that this boy wasn't naturally rebellious after all, and could still be guided. He reached out to help the boy up. Since I am now your tutor, not only will I teach you how to read and write,
but I will also teach you the principles of being an upright person.
Ning Yuan thought to himself. This tutor is so young.
So why is he even more nagging and difficult than that old master at the clan school?
Is it too late to back out now? With the Minister of Education, she wanted now in place. Sheng Mimi happily arranged Ji Changxiong's lodging and ordered a lavish apprenticeship feast to be prepared.
When a table full of dishes, bursting with color, aroma, and flavor, was finally served,
A pleasant surprise flashed across the siblings' faces. Why had they never seen the family cook make these dishes before? Even fancy restaurants didn't seem to serve them.
Sheng Mimi giggled and said,
Of course they don't, because I made this entire feast myself. Thinking of their stepmother's noble upbringing and the prestige of the Sheng household,
The siblings found themselves liking Sheng Mimi even more. Hey, don't look down on me, she teased. I'd even prepared some long snow crackers for you guys to bring some extra good luck to this apprenticeship feast today. It symbolizes booming luck and booming success in your studies. Hearing this, Lin Yayang was the first to grab one, silently praying in his heart to ace the upcoming scholar exam. And please, let his little sister get well soon.
Ji Changxiong also quietly took one and tucked it into his robe.
He hoped everything would go smoothly for him in next year's spring exam, and that he would make the golden list of top scholars. After they finished their meal,
Ji Changxiong suggested reviewing Lin Yayang's past homework to get a sense of his new student's foundation. After a long silence, he finally asked how many years the boy had been attending the clan school.
Lin Yayang kept his mouth shut, looking completely guilty.
His little sister Wei Yu spoke up for him. My brother and I started going to the clan school when we were 4 years old.
it's been 3 years now. Hearing this, Jekshen was completely dumbfounded. 3 whole years at the clan school. And to this day, he couldn't even write his own name correctly. His handwriting looked like absolute chicken scratch. He slammed the book shut. This eye-searing handwriting was too painful to look at. He turned to Sheng Mimi and said, I'll just assume today is his very first day of school. For the next 2 days, I'll give him full day lessons so he can catch up with the clan school's curriculum.
Sheng Mimi nodded eagerly in agreement.
She then took little Yeyu and left. Since the older brother was now well on his way with his studies, he was going to fulfill her promise to treat little Yeyu's illness. She had the little girl soak in a warm tub of medicinal broth, using acupuncture needles to drive the cold energy out of her body. While the medicinal baths and acupuncture couldn't completely cure the little one just yet, they would at least keep the cold illness inside her tiny body from getting worse and keep her flare-ups under control. She had never treated such a tricky illness before. She still needed to pore over ancient medical texts to find a more suitable cure.
Only by finding a permanent cure for the little girl could she prescribe her medicine with absolute confidence.
But inside, her heart was weeping. This time, she had paid for the expensive medicinal herbs out of her own pocket. The 1,000 taels of silver she had just won hadn't even warmed up in her purse yet, and she even had to dip into her own precious dowry. What a massive loss! Next time, I am definitely billing this to the family account.
Meanwhile, the
The boy found his new tutor's lessons incredibly easy to understand.
Even Ming Yayang stopped resisting her. He actually began studying hard.
Look at him. Think though it's pitch black outside, he's still practicing his calligraphy. The wet nurse who looked after Ming Yayang brought in a warm bowl of chicken noodle soup and said, "Young master, are you hungry? Please, stop studying.
Eat up and get some rest."
Ring Liang had been studying so hard that he was absolutely starved.
He immediately began devouring the noodles.
Seeing this, the wet nurse seized the chance to poison his mind, saying, "Young master, our family's noble title is secure for generations to come. You are the eldest grandson of this great mansion."
Why on earth are you working yourself to the bone, competing with those dirt-poor scholars?
They only study because they're desperate for wealth and status. But you were born with everything.
Honestly, the madame is crossing the line.
Is it because you're not her own flesh and blood that she doesn't care if you drop dead from exhaustion?
Ming Yang shot back. I'm not studying for money or power. Master said we study to understand the world and learn right from wrong.
And stepmother says studying ensures I won't grow up to be a useless fool.
More than anything, I'm studying to protect my little sister.
Hearing this, the wet nurse squeezed out some fake tears, putting on a dramatic show of grief. She continued her toxic whispering. But young master, the madam forces Miss Jaiwei into those and those needles. She pricks the poor little miss so hard, it's agonizing to—
I've watched you two grow up since you were babies, and my heart is absolutely breaking.
The madam isn't some renowned physician. She didn't even consult the estate doctor before using the young miss as her personal guinea pig.
If anything happens to her, the old Marquis isn't here to save us.
What on earth are we going to do then?
Miao Yang yelled bad defensively. That's not true. Stepmother knows medicine.
We've seen her cure people with our own eyes.
She would never hurt my sister.
Seeing him push back, the wet nurse doubled down.
Just because the madame claims she can practice medicine doesn't make it true.
I even sent my people to investigate her past. No one in her maiden home has ever heard of her knowing medicine. Besides, her own biological brother is a simpleton, and she hasn't even cured him. How could someone like her cure our precious young miss?
And ever since you two went back to her family home with her,
you both came back completely different.
Did she use some kind of dark witchcraft to brainwash you?
You used to hate studying.
Now you're staying up all night, buried in books.
And the young miss actually lets her do it, banning us servants from even getting close. Suddenly, Ming Yaoyang slammed his bowl of noodles onto the ground, shattering it. "I'm not eating. I've lost my appetite. And what do you mean by witchcraft? She isn't some evil witch."
Do you think I'm an idiot who would just let her trick me?
Shocked by the young master's sudden outburst of rage, the wet nurse fell to her knees in panic. "You're right, young master. You're absolutely right." This old servant was completely out of line.
But deep down, she burned with resentment. "I raised you. I am your wet nurse.
How dare you choose a woman who's only been here a few days, just because she carries the title of stepmother,
and snatched away all the love that belonged to you. Why on earth did Ning Yoyang get so frustrated and kip everyone out?
Don't ever say things like that again."
But Min Yoang's mind had already been poisoned by her words.
What Nanny said actually makes sense. When my stepmother first married into our family, Shaiwei and I both agreed that we would never accept her as our stepmother. Sure, she's a bit different from others,
but it's only been a few days. Could she just be putting on an act?
Just when young Master Yaoyang was starting to change his mind about his stepmother
and studying hard to save his sister, his wet nurse drove a wedge between them, keeping him awake all night.
The next day, when the sun was already high in the sky,
Ning Yaoyang still hadn't gotten out of bed.
Sheng Mimi stormed into his room and drank Ning Yaoyang out of bed by his ear.
"You little brat!
Master Ji has been waiting for you all morning, and you're still slacking off in bed. Other students are up at dawn to study.
Where did all that energy you had last night go?"
Min Yaoyang protested listlessly, looking half dead.
"You evil stepmother. Don't you dare pull my ears. Let go of me. Go wash up and get to class, right now." Seeing Ning Yaoyang sporting massive dark circles under his eyes, Sheng Mimi asked in surprise, "What on earth did you do last night? Don't tell me you were sneaking around doing something bad behind my back. Even though you finished studying around 10 last night, you should have had at least 8 hours of sleep. There's no way you should look like a total wreck right now. Something is definitely fishy here."
So she went out and questioned the servants. "What exactly did your young master do after he returned last night?"
The maids answered hesitantly.
"The young master went upstairs to check on the young mistress, and then came down to rest.
But last night, Nanny Kong seemed to have made a bowl of noodles and brought it to him."
But the young master lost his temper and smashed the bowl on the floor.
Sheng Mimi pressed further, asking why Yaoyang had lost his temper.
The maid stammered nervously.
"Nanny Kong was serving the young master alone in the room. She wouldn't let any of us inside."
"We really don't know what happened in there."
One look, and Sheng Mimi knew they weren't telling her the whole truth.
Exerting her authority as the mistress of the house over the two maids, she demanded, "Are you telling me you didn't hear a single thing? If you don't start talking, don't blame me when I throw you into the woodshed to reflect on your actions."
Terrified, the two maids didn't dare hide anything anymore.
Nanny Kong. She was telling the young master that he didn't need to study as hard as the others. She was also badmouthing you right in front of him. Soon, Nanny Kong was summoned to the front hall to face Sheng Mimi.
Sheng Mimi offered a thin smile when she saw her walk in. "Nanny Kong, how many years has it been since you first—"
"You must have worked so hard taking care of our Yoyang all these years. I also heard that you have quite a few children of your own at home. Your family is large and can't do without you. How about this?
Our own mansion will pay you an extra year's worth of monthly allowance, so you can return home in honor.
Nanny Kong was utterly shocked.
Madam, what do you mean by that?
Sheng Mimi's smile vanished instantly.
She said expressionlessly.
The literal meaning. Since you no longer wish to serve the eldest young master,
Then pack your bags and go home.
Nanny Kong panicked and declared, I'm not leaving. I am the eldest young master's wet nurse. I am supposed to serve him for the rest of my life.
Sheng Mimi stood up and snapped.
You want to serve Yayan? Then why did you whisper those toxic, divisive words to him?
What a venomous mind you have. Even a lowly ant has the drive to improve.
Yet you want to ruin the legitimate eldest grandson of the Hoot Mansion?
Or is there someone behind your back instructing you to do this? Hearing this, Nanny Kong realized that her conversation with Meng Yaoyang last night had been overheard. She quickly tried to make excuses.
Last night, this servant was only feeling sorry that the eldest young master was studying so late.
So I just said a few private, comforting words. Madam, please do not pin such a terrible crime on me. When the old Marquis and the old Madam ran the household, they never treated the servants so harshly.
the Hu Hanshin was always filled with laughter.
But ever since you arrived,
Are we servants not even allowed to express our care for our masters anymore?
Sheng Mimi laughed out of sheer anger. This wet nurse was indeed stubborn, still refusing to admit her fault even now.
private words? Very well. Bring in the ones who overheard her, and let's see what kind of private words they were.
Hearing this, Nanny Kong panicked.
Oh no, she's trying to blow this completely out of proportion.
Shouldn't she hush things up to protect her reputation as the mistress of the house?
Why is she holding on to such a small thing and refusing to let it go? Soon, under Sheng Mimi's questioning and threats,
Terrified of being sold off,
The two maidservants honestly confessed everything Nanny Kong had said. Yesterday, we heard Nanny Kong tell the eldest young master that he was born with everything anyway,
and she urged him not to study. She also accused the madam of giving the eldest young miss the wrong medical treatments
and brainwashing the young master and young miss with dark arts.
If we tell a single lie,
We will willingly submit to any punishment Madam sees fit.
Now completely panicked.
Nanny Kong lunged at the two maidservants in a fit of rage and started hitting them.
The two maidservants had had enough and fought back. We are not lying.
You've done plenty of dirty things in the eldest young master's courtyard.
Just because you're his wet nurse, you always bully and oppress us servants.
Sheng Mimi realized that these people were probably the main culprits behind why Ming Yaoyang turned out this way. Having just entered the mansion, she hadn't found the root to the problem yet.
Now that Nanny Kong had walked right into her trap, she had to make an example out of her to warn the others.
She immediately ordered her men to throw Nanny Kong out of the Hu Mansion. Unfazed, Nanny Kong shrieked in protest.
You have no right to kick me out. I am the young master's wet nurse. I raised him with my own milk. The old Marquis and old Madam promised me that the Chongren Marquis mansion would provide for me in my old age.
No one has the right to kick me out.
Sheng Mimi sneered. Using the old Marquis and the old Madame to pressure me? The household authority is entirely in my hands.
Even if the old Madam finds out, she won't blame me.
Besides, you deliberately led the eldest grandson of the Marquis mansion astray.
If they knew, they would never spare you. Wet Nurse Kong remained defiant. The young master was raised on my milk.
He is incredibly filial.
He would never just abandon me.
Sheng Mimi's face went completely cold.
Banyao, the maid left behind by the elders, stepped forward and slapped Wet Nurse Kong right across the face. You are just a wet nurse.
Nothing but a mere servant. How dare you think you deserve the filial piety of the Marquis mansion's eldest grandson?
If he wants to show respect, it should be to the old Marquis and old Madam. Are you even worthy of his respect? These words completely woke Wet Nurse Kong up to reality.
After all, Banang was left behind by the old Madame to assist Sheng Mimi in managing the household.
She represented the old Madam herself. Terrified, Wet Nurse Kong quickly begged for mercy.
Madam, this servant dares not do it again. Please, Madam, spare my life. I know my mistake now.
Wet Nurse Kong's pathetic behavior only disgusted Sheng Mimi further. She declared, there is no need to pay her remaining allowance for the year.
Throw her out.
Soon, the neighboring Deshon Count mansion received news that Wet Nurse Kong, their plant, had actually been kicked out of the estate by Sheng Mimi.
Even that little terror, Ning Gaoyang, has been disciplined by her to love studying. That woman from the Sheng family certainly has some impressive tricks. Hearing this, Countess de Shun sneered. She is just a young bride who only entered the estate a few days ago, yet she already kicked out the wet nurse. This is far too impatient of her. True, our Count mansion and the Marquis mansion share the same family ancestry, but we split our households many years ago.
I cannot openly interfere in their family affairs. Ning Yoyang does not know about this yet, right?
Go get Wet Nurse Kong a hint and help her out. The Marquis mansion only has one male heir, Min Yoyang. And Ning Yoyang fails to manage the Marquis mansion in the future. Our senior branch can send a few of our own boys over to help him.
But now, Ning Goyan is actually studying diligently. This absolutely will not do.
In the afternoon,
Wet Nurse Kong was back at the Marquis mansion gates, throwing a wild tantrum and shouting, "None of you can throw me out!"
She was convinced that the woman from the Sheng family refused to let her see the young master,
simply because she was terrified that the young master would protect her.
as long as she could see the young master. Everything would be fine. Her noisy yelling,
finally annoyed Ning Youyang inside the estate enough to make him come out.
Who is making all this noise?
It's so loud I can't even focus on my reading.
Wet Nurse Kong immediately put on a pitiful act, kneeling before him. Young master, please save this servant. The Madavin wants to throw me out of the Marquis mansion.
I am your wet nurse.
可后您教养可一分细弊。
Sheng Mimi walked out and stood right beside him. I am the one kicking her out. Do you have any objections?
Sheng Mimi successfully threw the troublemaking wet nurse out of the Marquis mansion.
The plots of the wet nurse and her backers from the Count mansion were completely foiled.
Having finally run into Ning Yaoyang, the wet nurse wept bitterly, begging to come back, not forgetting to drive a wedge between them again. I am your wet nurse, madam.
Wants to kick me out without your permission.
I refuse to accept this.
She was highly confident.
After all, she had raised the young master herself.
And Sheng Mimi was nothing but a stepmother who had just married into the family a few days ago.
Surely the young master would take her side.
Sheng Mimi remained perfectly calm. Ning Youyang, you'd better think this through carefully.
Were those things she said yesterday really out of concern for you? If you truly want to keep her, I won't stop you. Min Yaoyang felt the respect his stepmother was showing him. And thanks to Ji Chongying's teachings,
He turned to the wet nurse and said, I tolerated you because you nursed me when I was a baby. So even when you used your status as my wet nurse
to constantly steal and eat my food,
and even took my belongings to sell for money,
I turned a blind eye and let it slide.
But this time, my wicked stepmother is right.
The things you said last night weren't out of concern for me at all. You just wanted to turn me into a useless loser.
And you were clearly trying to drive a wedge between me and my wicked stepmother. Having said that, he turned to Sheng Mimi. You run the household. I'll leave her to you.
Hearing this, the wet nurse panicked.
She grabbed Ning Youyang tightly, crying out,
I am your wet nurse.
How can you be so heartless?
You should be showing me filial respect.
Her words completely severed Ning Yaoyang's last shred of sympathy for her. A mere servant,
expecting a master to show her filial respect.
Have I not treated you well enough all these years in the Marquis's residence? The things you've done behind my back are more than enough for me to expose you.
And then throw you out.
Having said his piece, he ignored the wet nurse's desperate wailing,
allowing the household guards to drag her away.
Sheng Mimi, in a great mood, praised him. Our Yaoyang has really grown up. Can now tell right from wrong.
Wonderful job. Meanwhile,
兄友，我认得肥友，我圣城高楼的塔董是启强兄。
Failing to find him, she couldn't help but complain to herself. That scholar is so ungrateful. I treat him so well, and even want to sponsor him.
Yet, he actually avoids me.
No, this won't do.
I have never failed to get anything I set my eyes on.
As long as I pay for his room and arrange his meals, he will definitely be deeply moved when he finds out. She stopped a waiter, pulled out 50 tills of silver, and asked him to give it to Ji Changsheng. Just don't tell him it came from me.
Word got out at the inn that he was actually the top provincial scholar. Before she could even finish asking, the clerk interrupted.
Miss,
you don't know the half of it.
Mr. Ji moved out of our Yinke Inn the day before yesterday. Zhang Lor snapped angrily. Where did he go? Did you kick him out? How could you do this?
The clerk rolled his eyes and scoffed.
He left on his own. How would we know where he went?
Besides, miss, what's your relationship with him anyway? Chasing after a poor scholar like this? Aren't you afraid of becoming a laughingstock?
Embarrassed and frustrated, Sheng Lor stormed out of Yunke Inn.
She ordered her maid to take some money and find out where Jake Chengzuo was.
She sneered inwardly. What a bunch of blind fools. Ji Changsheng is incredibly brilliant.
It's only a matter of time before he aces the imperial exams.
Even though he has no power or money right now, his potential is limitless. If I can get him to marry into our family as a live-in husband, I'm sure mother and father won't object.
That way I won't have to marry off and endure the whims of some wealthy in-laws.
The next day, while Sheng Mimi was in the kitchen preparing nourishing medicinal meals for her 2 children, a servant came to report that the eldest young mistress of the Sheng Manor was asking to see her. She never visits unless she wants something.
Why is Chen Luo suddenly showing up here?
After a brief thought, she ordered, "Bring her in."
When Sheng Luo walked in and saw Sheng Mimi busy cooking in the kitchen,
she said in a snide, mocking tone, "My dear sister, the Marquis's manor has so many servants.
Do you really need to be in the kitchen cooking yourself?
Has the eldest young master of the Marquis manor been giving you a hard time?
Is he forcing you to cook for him?"
Sheng Mimi replied with a subtle boast.
Well, I have no choice.
The 2 kids are just so clingy and picky. They insist that only my cooking tastes good. After all, you have to spoil your own children.
So I have to cook for them myself.
I really envy you, big sister. You don't have to lift a finger at home.
You just sit back and have everything handed to you.
Sheng Luo's smile stiffened. How did those 2 kids accept her as their stepmother so quickly?
Was the rumor about them being rebellious troublemakers completely fake?
After some fake pleasantries, she finally got to the point. I heard the Marquis Manor spent a fortune to hire a tutor. Did you hire him for young Master Ning, little sister?
Sheng Mimi nada. That's right.
He gets along great with Yaolang. He'd only been teaching him for 2 days, and he's already sparked Yaolang's interest in studying.
Trying to dig for more information, Sheng Luo prodded. Where is this tutor from?
To think he could be so amazing.
What's his name? Where does he come from?
Sheng Mimi smirked slightly. Just a young tutor. His surname is G.
去查查，
鲜肉呢并不主流。So it is tutor G.
What a small world.
Actually, I know Mr. G too.
He was the top provincial scholar of Jiangsu and Zhejiang.
No wonder he's qualified to teach the Marquis' eldest grandson.
Sheng Mimi finally got it.
So she came all this way just for Qian Sheng. Well, this is getting interesting.
Sister, you're always cooped up in your chambers. How on earth did you meet an outsider like Mr. G? Blushing, Sheng Lower stammered. I went to the temple to burn incense before, and my carriage horse got spooked.
Later, I looked for my savior and found out he was an exam candidate staying at a tavern. I went there to thank him once, since Mr. G is staying at the Marquis's estate now.
Could you let me see him? Suing Shangor is desperate lug-sick luck. Sheng Mimi realized something. So, the wealthy young lady the tavern waiter mentioned, the one who wanted to sponsor Ji Changsheng, was actually her.
But from what she remembered, Ji Chengsheng completely rejected her help, didn't he?
He'd rather sleep in the tavern's woodshed than take her money. He clearly had zero interest in her. Ooh, time for some drama, Sheng Mimi thought. Generously, she led Xing Luo to the backyard study room to find Mr. G.
Mr. G, an old friend of yours is here to see you. Can you come out for a moment?
Zhai Jiaoyang opened the door.
Chu Luo instantly shoved Xing Mi aside. She flashed a sweet, beaming smile at him. Mr. G, it's me. I never expected you'd end up teaching at my second sister's place. But the moment Ji Chengsheng saw her face, he looked like he'd just seen a ghost. He immediately slammed the door shut.
I do not know you. Please leave.
Sheng Mimi burst out laughing. Oh, dear sister. It looks like your savior doesn't really want to see you.
Shen Mor completely ignored her.
Desperate, she kept banging on the door.
Mr. G, we've met before. Have you forgotten? I truly want to support you. You should be focusing on your exams right now, not wasting your time here tutoring some brainless, useless playboy.
Everyone out there says the Marquis's eldest grandson hates studying and writing.
He can't even write his own name. There's no way he will ever learn anything. Mr. G, I'm doing this for your own good. I just don't want him to waste your precious time. Suddenly, the door flew open. Caught completely off guard, Sung Luo lost her balance and tumbled straight to the floor. Ne Gaolang stood there, hands on his hips, and scoffed. I was wondering what kind of loud-mouthed banshee was shrieking.
Turns out it's you.
Say what you just said again. I dare you.
Xing Luo was used to throwing her weight around. She had wanted to make Ji Kansho a live-in husband for the Sheng family, while trying to win favor here at the Marquis's estate.
But she had let her big mouth run wild, and openly insulted Ning Yaoyang. Now that the door was wide open, terror washed over her as she realized what she'd just blurted out. She only wanted to talk some sense into Ji Changsheng, but she never expected Ning Liang to actually be inside the room. Forcing an apologetic smile, she quickly tried to defend herself. Young Master Ning, you've completely misunderstood. I was just talking nonsense.
Ning Liang sneered. Misunderstood?
I heard every single word from inside. I'm a brainless, useless playboy, am I? Gulping, Xing Luo tried to push through. But isn't that what everyone else is saying anyway? I was only stating the facts.
Surely, young Master Ning, you wouldn't expect me to go against my conscience and praise you for being a diligent, hardworking scholar, would you?
Min Yuan grinned wickedly. Heh, you're absolutely right about that. I admit I used to be a useless slacker who did nothing but idle away my days. And although I may not be highly educated like you, at least I understand basic decency and self-respect. And I certainly know that men and women must maintain proper boundaries. For the eldest Miss Sheng to barge into my home just to harass my tutor, I seriously have to wonder what kind of upbringing the Sheng family has. You claim you're here to show your gratitude,
Yet I don't see a single shred of sincerity.
at the very least, you should have brought some silver and jewelry as gifts. You shouldn't have come completely empty-handed to show your gratitude to my tutor.
Besides, you're acting incredibly bizarre.
My tutor is doing perfectly fine living here in our mansion. So why do you keep nagging him to leave? This could have been easily resolved with money. Yet you went out of your way to do things the hard way, just to cozy up to him. Oh, now I get it. Oh, what? Have you fallen for my tutor? All this talk about gratitude is just a cheap excuse, isn't it? Her secret motives exposed, Shang Luo shrieked in anger. Stop talking nonsense. But Ning Yaoyang, completely unfazed, continued to rip away her mask of decency.
No wonder my tutor would rather sleep in a tavern's woodpile than accept your help.
Can't you see he looks at you as if you're some kind of plague? No matter how thick-skinned Xing Lu was, this blunt confrontation left her utterly humiliated. Flustered and enraged, she threw down a final warning. Master, Jia, if you ever change your mind, you can come find me anytime. With that, she scurried away from the Marquis mansion in utter disgrace. Sheng Mimi, who had been watching the drama unfold the entire time, couldn't help but clap. Wow, you've got a seriously sharp tongue!
I can't believe you actually managed to drive my arrogant sister away in a rage.
Ning Liang scoffed.
Who told her to insult me and call me a spoiled playboy? What's wrong with me giving her a piece of my mind? Besides, everything I said is the absolute truth. As the innocent source of this whole storm,
Ji Changsheng also felt deeply embarrassed for bringing such a nuisance to his host's homes.
seeing this, Sheng Mimi quickly apologized. I'm so sorry, Master Ji. The woman just now was my eldest sister. She suddenly came to the Marquis mansion demanding to see you.
And I didn't have time to warn you beforehand.
Ji Changsheng replied earnestly, I come from a humble background. So, even though I have been in the capital for several months now, I haven't made any close friends. If anyone comes looking for me again, I humbly ask you, madam, to turn them away at the gates. I only wish to study in peace and teach Yoyan.
Hearing this, Sheng Mimi nodded repeatedly. Of course. I'm truly
I understand completely.
I am deeply sorry for the disruption, Master Ji. Min Yuyam stomped his foot, absolutely fuming.
He sure ran away fast.
He completely ruined my great mood for studying.
Hearing this, Ji Changsheng smiled and said, Seeing how hard you have been studying these past few days, I will allow you to take a day off tomorrow.
Hearing this, Min Yoyang's annoyance instantly vanished, replaced by sheer joy. Hey, stepmother.
Fury? Am I allowed to go out tomorrow?
Sheng Mimi let out a helpless chuckle. Well, since the master has already said so,
how could I possibly say no? But I need to know exactly where you're going tomorrow. Nikiao explained that ever since he started studying, he had been flooded with invitation letters every single day.
Tomorrow, some of his friends were gathering at Yingke Tower. He was only going there for a quick meal. The next day,
Ning Yueyang arrived at the finest private room in Yingke Tower as agreed. The room was already packed with his buddies. All of them wealthy, influential heirs from the capital's elite families.
One of them grinned. Hey, Yueyang, we heard your new stepmother is incredibly fierce.
We haven't seen you in forever. Did she beat you so badly that you couldn't even crawl out of bed?
Min Yueyang waved his hand dismissively.
Oh, get lost, you guys. How could a young master like me ever be afraid of her?
Those are all just baseless rumors. His friend sneered, completely unconvinced. Then why haven't you come out to play for so long? You haven't been listening to music with us, and we haven't seen you at the hunting grounds, the polo fields, or the stables.
Ning Yueyang puffed his chest out with pride. This young master has been busy studying all day long.
I don't have time to fool around with you guys. Besides, fooling around isn't nearly as exciting as studying.
The entire private room went dead silent.
His friends stared at him in utter disbelief.
Then, the room erupted into roaring laughter. Oh, Yoyang, are you seriously pulling our legs? You are the one who absolutely loathes studying. Did your stepmother really force you to hit the books? Is she that terrifying?
Man, you are so incredibly pathetic. To think the eldest grandson of the prestigious Chongren Marquis mansion is completely whipped by a mere daughter of a concubine?
Nian Nao's face darkened as he shot back. What on earth is wrong with studying? She even hired an amazing tutor for me.
His friends just kept laughing mockingly. Yeah, whatever.
We get it. Hey, a few magnificent new horses just arrived at the stables. If you're interested, you'd better reserve one early. I already booked a stunning red stallion.
It's incredibly powerful. But as Ning Yueyang listened to his friends chatter,
he suddenly realized that hanging out with these guys was completely boring.
It felt like such a massive waste of time.
I'd honestly rather just go back home and study. His so-called buddies invited him to the riding tracks again. The next day,
but Nin Yueyang turned it down, using studying as an excuse.
His friends immediately started complaining. Are you seriously afraid of your stepmother? Is she locking you in or what?
If you're scared of her, we can easily teach her a lesson for you. Next time she goes out, we'll throw a few massive firecrackers into her carriage and blow her face to pieces. Hearing this, Ning Yueyang quickly cut them off, shouting, She is my stepmother.
You all better show her some respect.
But his buddies didn't take him seriously at all. Oh, please. She's just a lowly concubine's daughter. How is she even worthy of being your stepmother? She beat you up on her very first day in the house. She is definitely bad news. If you want us to handle her, just say the word. As long as you cover our private dining bills at Jinke Restaurant for a whole year, we'll make sure she gets what's coming to her. Ning Yueyang slammed his hand on the table and stood up, wincing from the pain.
All of you, shut the hell up.
Since when does my family business need your endless gossiping?
Ning Yueyang, have you lost your mind?
We're only looking out for you.
And Yueyang can't cut them off instantly. Looking out for me?
You all just want to see me make a fool of myself. You're so incredibly rude, you should hire a tutor to teach you some actual manners.
Realizing how pointless this whole conversation was, he turned around and headed for the door. Now his buddies panicked. Normally, Ning Yueyang was their ultimate cash cow, paying for every single meal and drink. They hadn't seen him in days, and there was no way they were letting him slip away now. One of them quickly grabbed Ning Yueyang's arm.
Hey, we were only joking.
We won't say it again, all right? But if you really have to go, at least settle the bill first. To their surprise, Ning Yueyang yanked his arm back.
Didn't you guys send me an invitation to host me? Why on earth should I pay?
But the truth was, his stepmother had confiscated all his money, and he couldn't actually sneak up to the second floor to steal from his little sister, could he? But his friends, who had always used him as a free ticket, were having none of it. How could you possibly be broke?
Don't you have more money than you can ever spend?
What's the big deal about paying for one meal? Didn't you always cover us before? Don't tell us you're actually this stingy. This terrible encounter at the restaurant
and meeting up with his supposed friends
finally made Min Yueyang see the truth. These people didn't care about him at all.
They were just using him as a piggy bank to fund their lavish lifestyle.
He couldn't believe he had been so blind. His so-called wicked stepmother was absolutely right.
He really had been a massive fool. Furious, he finally snapped.
You've leached off me too many times to count.
It's about time you guys paid the bill yourself.
Why should I keep paying for your meals? Today, I'm not spending a single penny. But his buddies weren't about to let him off that easily. How could you possibly be broke? I thought you had more money than you could ever spend. What's the big deal about covering the bill anyway?
Ning Yawang scoffed.
Whether I have money to burn or not is none of your business. In the past, I paid out of courtesy, and you lot took it for granted, freeloading off me every single time.
So, who is paying today?
If you can't afford it, figure it out yourselves. Besides, your families are all high-ranking officials. Yet you expect me to cover your bills every single day. Have you no shame? After mocking them, he left the group frozen in their tracks and strutted away. Back in the private room, his friends were completely dumbfounded. If he wasn't going to pay, why didn't he say so earlier? If we'd known, we wouldn't have ordered so much. Splitting this bill will wipe out our entire monthly allowance. Meanwhile, at the Marquis's manor, Sheng Mimi received an invitation from the Vice Minister of Works Manor, inviting her to the 60th birthday celebration of their old matriarch. This old matriarch was an old friend of the former Madame of the Marquis's manor, and the two families had always kept in close touch. Their bond was extremely deep. Therefore, Sheng Mimi instructed Ban Yang, the maid left behind by the former madam, to prepare a birthday gift so they could pay their respects the next day.
She also had Ban Yang ask the Ning siblings if they wanted to come along.
At dinner, the siblings muttered, "In the past, grandmother was always the one who went.
Either my sister nor I like these kinds of events." Just as the maid was about to leave to deliver the message,
Sheng Mimi was called back by Ning Jiawei, who then whispered into Ning Yaoyang's ear.
Brother,
Our stepmother is only a concubine's daughter.
Who knows if she even has any experience dealing with other noble ladies? Let's go with her tomorrow.
we need to look out for her.
It's one thing if people bully her, but we can't let her ruin the reputation of our Marquis's manor.
Min Yaoyang naturally agreed with his sister. Fine then. We'll go with her.
I'd like to see who dares to pick on anyone from our manor tomorrow.
The next day, Sheng Mimi took the beautifully dressed siblings to the banquet at the Zhou Manor. Many of the guests didn't recognize Sheng Mimi, but seeing Ning Yaoyang and his sister by her side, they could easily guess her identity. After exchanging a few polite words with the host of the Zhou Manor,
Sheng Mimi asked the siblings if they wanted to go play. I'll stay here and chat with the other ladies. It must be so boring for you kids to just stand here. The siblings exchanged a quick glance. Though they were tempted, they shook their heads and said, "No, we'll just stay with you."
after all, these two proud little Sunders were determined to back up their stepmother.
Sheng Mimi knew they were just worried she wouldn't be able to handle herself. Feeling touched, she gently patted their heads. "I can really handle this. Go on, play. Look, there are plenty of children over there." This warm head-patting gesture. Those two little ones really seem to be enjoying themselves. A little gentle encouragement goes a long way, doesn't it? My sister and I will go look around. Make sure to call for us if you need anything. Shamina watched the two of them leave with a gentle smile. Kids will be kids. Even though they said they didn't want to play, deep down, they actually wanted to all along. But she really hadn't expected the children to show genuine concern for her. Suddenly, a sharp, piercing voice cut through her thoughts. "So, this is the new lady of Marcus Children's estate? With those new clothes on, I almost didn't recognize you."
On your wedding day, madam, you grabbed the eldest grandson of the Marcus's estate out and gave him a thorough beating.
"That is certainly a vivid memory for us all," Sheng Mimi replied without batting an eye. "The boy was just being rowdy."
My wedding day.
I must have made a fool of myself in front of you, Madam Huang.
Ignoring the host's subtle warnings to stop, Madame Huang continued to mock her. "Oh, it certainly gave us a good laugh for quite a while. We all know that the marriage between the Sheng family and the Marcus was originally meant for your legitimate elder sister. Who would have thought there'd be a last-minute switch? The Marcus's bride went from a legitimate daughter to a mere concubine's daughter. I imagine the old Marquis and his wife must be sick to their stomachs. But of course, it's a completely different story for you, madam. After all, you managed to climb up the social ladder and completely turn your life around." Sheng Mimi sneered to herself. Does she really think that just because I'm a concubine's daughter, she can humiliate me in front of everyone and get away with it? You are sorely mistaken. She struck back with a beaming smile. "I wouldn't know if my parents-in-law are feeling upset or not. But I do know that right now, Madame Huang. You must be the one who is feeling absolutely miserable. I heard that you once desperately wanted your own daughter to marry into the Marcus's estate, but you didn't want her to suffer the humiliation of being a stepmother. Now, seeing that a concubine's daughter like me is married in, don't tell me you're having regrets. Too bad I am already the matriarch of the Marcus's estate." "Matha Feng, you have an incredibly sharp tongue. But how dare you publicly mock our Marquis Changren's estate? Do you have no respect for authority? My husband has been stationed at the remote borders for years, tirelessly guarding our nation's borders. How dare you, a mere wife of a deputy commander of the infantry, mock me, the madam of this house?" Madame Huang's face instantly went pale. No one could bear the weight of such a serious accusation. Everyone in the room was stunned. They all realized right then that the new matriarch of the Marquis's estate was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Madame Huang, thoroughly embarrassed, desperately tried to save face. "Oh, my lady, how can you say such a thing? I was merely making friendly small talk with you. I had no other intentions at all. Please, don't misunderstand me." Sheng Mimi let out a soft laugh. "Oh, so it was all just a misunderstanding? After all, it is better to resolve a grudge than to let it fester."
Mr. Huang, I was out of line.
Madame Huang quickly took the exit she was given, waving her hands.
No, please, don't say that.
It was my fault. I didn't mean to offend you. Right at that moment, a fervent denounced the arrival of Madame Sheng. Madame Sheng was already scheming. She figured a mere concubine's daughter like Mimi
Must have just been humiliated and ridiculed by these snobbish noble ladies.
You were so arrogant back at the Sheng estate, she thought.
Today, out in public, I'm going to teach you a lesson you'll never forget.
Ooh, putting on a show of surprise, she asked, Mimi? What are you doing here?
She grabbed Mimi's hand, setting a trap. Mimi, you only recently married into the Marquis household.
A young bride should stay home, support her husband, and raise her children. I know your husband hasn't returned to the capital in a long time, and sleeping in an empty bed must get lonely. But there are so many men out here, running around in public constantly. It's just not a good look. The other ladies instantly perked up their ears, eager for some juicy drama.
Mimi's smile didn't fade at all. Mother, with all due respect,
I have to disagree with you. Attending a banquet is perfectly normal social etiquette.
everything I did was proper and appropriate. So how is it that in your mouth it becomes indecent and unable to bear the loneliness? Or are you suggesting that the dowager's birthday banquet is filled with sketchy, disreputable people?
Which is why you're so worried about me.
Madame Sheng quickly stammered. I never said that, Mimi continued smoothly. It is my blessing that you care so much about me, mother, but I am now the mistress of the Chungra Marquis mansion. The ladies here are all respected noblewomen. Yet you treat them like common street thugs?
As if associating with them would instantly ruin my reputation. Don't you think that's incredibly inappropriate?
With that, the tables were completely turned.
Several of the noble women glared at Madame Sheng with sheer hostility.
Because Mimi was born to a concubine and had married as a substitute bride, even though she was now the noble mistress of the Marquis mansion.
These high society ladies still tried to look down on her.
But she had just put the troublemaker, Madame Huang, firmly in her place, only to have her stepmother, Madame Sheng, immediately try to smear her name.
Calmly shifting the blame and turning the ladies' wrath onto Madame Sheng, Mimi decided to deliver another blow. By the way, my older sister seems to go out quite often lately.
In fact, I saw her just yesterday. Did she do something to upset you, mother? Is that why you're projecting all this anxiety onto me?
Seeing this, the other noblewomen began to whisper. Wait, wasn't the legitimate daughter of the Sheng family supposedly struck by a sudden fatal illness?
With an illness like that, she should have been on her deathbed.
Which is why they had the second daughter marry in her place.
So how is she still alive and kicking? Running around town? Swapping brides on a whim like that? Their family's morals are highly questionable.
No respectable family would ever dare to marry a girl from such a household. Madame Sheng's face grew uglier by the second as she listened. In her mind, she cursed Mimi. That miserable, worthless bride. She had blatantly and publicly ruined her precious Luar's reputation. Furious, she snapped.
Ladies, don't you think you're going too far?
My Lua suffered from a sudden, terrible illness. She has already suffered so much. She only just managed to recover. Ruining her reputation like this. You must not have daughters of your own to care so little about someone's life. The other ladies curled their lips. Well, we didn't even say anything.
But wasn't this forced proxy marriage your Sheng family's doing in the first place?
Are we not even allowed to talk about it now?
Sheng Mimi quickly pacified them. Ladies, please don't be angry. Mother was only acting this way because she was worried about Sister Dai. Then, reading the room, she subtly nudged the conversation. Sister Dai is sick, but at least she has a
Even her marriage contract with the Marquess of Ding could be changed at the last minute. I really envy Sister Dai. Unlike me. My birth mother passed away early, leaving my little brother and me all alone, with no one to rely on. Although I was forced to marry in her place to become a stepmother,
I know Mother must have had my best interests at heart.
She meant no harm. Touched by Sheng Mimi's vulnerability, several ladies chimed in. My lady, heaven always protects kind souls. Your greatest blessings are still to come.
Some people sure talk a good game. But in reality, they only care about their own daughter. The old Marquess and Marchioness are wonderful people. Now that you've left the Sheng family,
your life will only get better and better.
This marriage is truly a blessing in disguise.
Seeing the young Marchioness today, she truly possesses an extraordinary grace. Madame Sheng was seething with rage, her chest tight with fury. That wretched girl! Every single word out of her mouth is accusing me of treating her poorly. She couldn't understand how Sheng Mimi, a matriarch of a Marquis's house, who was born of a lowly concubine, and who should have been shunned by everyone, actually had people speaking up for her now. She regretted once again that she hadn't let her own daughter marry into that family. If she had, they would be the ones basking in all this glory today. After that, she didn't dare cause any more trouble for Sheng Mimi. Meanwhile, on the other side of the estate, a group of young boys led by Ning Yayang were putting on quite a lively show. Praised by everyone, Ning Yayang was showing off even more. What's so hard about this?
Keep a firm horse stance. Don't let your elbows shake, and you'll hit the target on the first shot.
Who wants to try? I can teach you. Just then, the group of older boys walked over. The chubby boy leading them overbearingly snatched his sword from someone else's hand and shoved his way through the crowd. Out of my way, everyone.
Let this young prince have a turn.
Miran Yalang. I heard your new stepmother whipped you so hard, even your own parents wouldn't recognize you. I thought you'd be too ashamed to show your face outside. What are you doing messing around here? Well, if it isn't Fatty Fulai from Princess Woman's palace. I heard you've gotten so fat you can barely walk anymore.
I thought you couldn't even get out of bed. What are you doing messing around here too?
If you want to play, get in line.
The tyrannical young prince flared up with rage the moment he heard that nickname. Ning no Yan.
How dare you speak to me like that? I am of royal blood.
The emperor is my grand uncle.
What kind of nobody do you think you are, Ming Yao Yan?
What?
Make me wait in line?
Well, I'm cutting the line today, and there's nothing you can do about it.
In the end, Ning Youyang decided to use his skills to force this fat heir to wait in line.
He went to show off his flawless pitchpot skills, landing every single shot. How about that? The fat heir was left speechless. As long as I beat you, you'll pack up and get lost, and give everyone else their turn back.
But that fat heir flew into a rage.
He felt that if he lost to Ning Youyang in front of so many people, everyone would laugh at him.
So he suddenly rushed over and kicked both of the pitchpot jars, smashing them to pieces.
This prince suddenly doesn't want to play anymore. I'm just here to ruin your fun.
I won't let any of you play. What are you gonna know about it? Furious, Ning Youyang barked at him. Hey, fat prince, if you're such a sore loser, then don't play at all. Do you have any manners?
The fat heir spat back arrogantly. A parentless loser like you has the nerve to talk to me about manners? You let a low-born stepmother walk all over you every day. And you don't even dare to utter a single word.
Ning Youyang snapped. He pinned the fat heir to the ground and growled, "You better keep your filthy mouth shut. Besides, did my stepmother ever do anything to you?
Look at your own pathetic self. You're the real loser here, a sore loser who can only make a mess. You're the most pathetic of all."
Just at that moment,
Grand Princess Huming arrived with her guards. The moment she saw her precious grandson, the absolute apple of her eye, pinned to the ground and screaming, her blood pressure spiked. Seeing his backer arrive, the fat heir immediately started playing the victim, whining and crying foul.
Without even trying to find out what happened, she ordered her guns. Grang Ning Youyang out and beat him to death. How dare he lay a finger on my precious Furong?
What absolute insolence. The moment the Grand Princess appeared, Ning Jiayu knew they were in deep trouble. She quickly sent a servant to fetch their stepmother for help, while she used her own fragile body to shield her brother.
She pleaded with the Grand Princess, explaining her brother's identity. My brother is the eldest legitimate grandson of the Chongren Marquis estate.
To a horror, Grand Princess Huming scoffed coldly.
Oh, so that's who you are.
So you're the one,
The most notorious little brat in the capital.
a parentless little bastard. Since there's no one in your marker state to teach you some manners,
Then I shall teach you a lesson on behalf of your family. Beat him! Give him 30 strikes of the board to start with.
The maidservants rushed forward to tear the brother and sister apart.
Min Wei Yang was completely pushed over the edge.
Get your hands off my sister.
I did nothing wrong, you old witch. What right do you have to beat me? The Grand Princess, who was in her 50s, absolutely detested being called old.
Hearing Ning Youyang call her an old witch,
She threw all royal decorum out the window and lunged forward herself, screaming, "You little beast!"
looks like I'll have to personally teach you how to watch your mouth.
Yu Yaoyang closed his eyes, resigning himself to his fate.
But instead of the pain he expected, he was met with a strange, warm embrace. Now, the 50-year-old Princess Royal absolutely despised being called old, and without even asking what happened, she was ready to strike.
Refusing to back down, Ning Youyang spat out, "You old witch!" Furious, the Princess Royal threw her royal dignity aside, lunging forward to slap Ning Youyang across the face. Just in time, Sheng Mimi rushed in and shielded Ning Youyang in her arms. The heavy blow landed squarely on her arm, which immediately swelled up red. Looking the Princess Royal dead in the eye, she said, "Your Highness,
My son does not require your discipline." Hearing this, the Princess Royal flew into a greater rage. "How dare you stand in my way? Who gave you the audacity?" Standing her ground, Sheng Mimi shot back at Princess Royal Huming.
even in our great Yu dynasty, there are laws. You are a member of the imperial family. How could you be so utterly ruthless to a 7-year-old child?" The Princess Royal let out an arrogant sneer. "This little bastard insulted his superiors and hit my grandson. What is wrong with me teaching him a lesson on behalf of your Marquis mansion?"
Sheng Mimi raised her voice, sharp and clear. "Ning Youyang's father is risking his life at the border to defend our country!"
And as his stepmother,
Hearing you call him a bastard,
are you cursing my husband, the Marquis,
to die in battle?
Furthermore, you didn't even bother to ask how this conflict started before resorting to violence. Isn't that incredibly biased?
Or does your highness simply look down on all of us noble families? The Princess Royal never expected Sheng Mimi to be so fiercely sharp-tongued.
She sneered. You certainly know how to twist words and make wild accusations. I heard you're just a concubine's daughter who was sent to the Marquis mansion as a substitute bride.
Even your legal mother wouldn't dare open her mouth in my presence.
And you dare raise your voice at me?
Unfazed, Sheng Mimi replied. I am the official mistress of the Chongren Marquis mansion now.
And I am the mother of these 2 children. If your highness wants to hurt them without cause,
No mother alive could ever stand by and watch.
Seeing that Sheng Mimi refused to sacrifice them just to please a powerful royal, Ning Yaolang felt a lump in his throat.
His eyes brimmed with tears. Min Jiayu felt it, too. She had assumed their stepmother would protect her brother, only to save face for the Marquis mansion.
She never imagined she would defend them so fiercely, refusing to back down even a single inch. Everyone had warned them that a stepmother would only abuse them and make their lives miserable.
But she had never treated them that way.
When they made mistakes, she didn't yell or hit them.
Instead, she patiently guided them,
Making sure they never went down the wrong path. She encouraged them to study. She cared for them when they were sick.
and cooked delicious meals for them with her own hands. Time and time again, she shielded them from the outside world, never once retreating. The brother and sister looked at each other, their hearts full.
A stepmother like this. Wasn't she just like a real mother?
Sheng Mimi squatted down and looked at Yin Yaoyang.
She asked softly. Yaoyang,
What happened just now? Can you tell everyone?
Mimi Yaoyang stared blankly at Sheng Mimi.
He thought about how stubborn and mischievous he used to be, always acting out against his stepmother.
Would she be disappointed in him? Would she even listen to his side of the story? Would she assume he was the one who started the trouble?
But he still bravely spoke the truth.
He didn't embellish a single detail. He was chubby Farong. He cut the line and wouldn't follow the rules.
I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't listen.
He was the one who challenged me to a match. And when he saw he was about to lose, he threw a tantrum and started calling me names. The other children who were there also spoke up to back him up. That's right. It was Chubby Farong who started the trouble. He lost the bet, threw a tantrum, and even hit Ning Yaoyang.
Chubby Farong even pushed Jotin to the ground,
and he kept hurling insults at Ning Yaoyang.
Seeing everyone take Ning Yaoyang's side, Chubby Farong wailed at the top of his lungs.
Grandmother! Everything hurts. Ning Yaoyang did this to me!
Meanwhile, the head of the Zhou household washed over. Your Highness,
it is our family's fault for the poor hospitality.
We failed to arrange 2 separate seats,
which caused this misunderstanding between the children. Today is our old matriarch's birthday, so we hope your highness will show a matriarch some grace
and let us settle this matter peacefully.
Although the princess didn't think much of Sheng Mimi, a crowd was starting to gather.
If things escalated,
She might end up looking bad. Besides, if the eldest grandson of the Marquis of Chongren were to actually get hurt, she wouldn't be able to explain it to her brother, the emperor. So she relented and said, "Fine. Out of respect for the matriarch's birthday today, I shall let him off this once.
But this boy must apologize to my Farong, and this lady Sheng must apologize to me as well."
Ning Yaoyang pursed his lips, thinking, forget it.
This woman is the princess.
If I don't apologize, I'll only cause trouble for my stepmother.
Just as he was about to give in and apologize,
Sheng Mimi held him back and spoke up firmly.
Your young heir started this conflict. If anyone needs to apologize, it should be him first. And your highness, you just called our Yaoyang a bastard. I demand an apology from you to our child.
Yaoyang is only 7 years old.
If he is forced to bear such a massive injustice, it will ruin his growth and his reputation. Otherwise, even if our Marquis mansion has to take this straight to the emperor, we will prove this child's innocence.
Everyone was completely won over by how protective the new mistress of the Chongren Marquis mansion was. Hearing that she wanted to raise the 2 siblings, Yuning and Jiawei, everyone suddenly felt a wave of relief.
Their stepmother is honestly so brave, and she understands them so well.
I love watching the stepmother stand up to the Princess Royal.
For the first time, someone had dared to disrespect her so completely. Furious, she laughed bitterly. Well, Lady Sheng, how dare you boss me around? Just you wait. I'm going to the palace right now to demand justice for my imperial brother. We'll see who's the one with no manners.
With that, she took her grandson and stormed off.
Sheng Mimi had just been running her mouth in the heat of the moment. And now she couldn't help but worry.
The Princess Royal is so arrogant and unreasonable.
She even uses the emperor as a threat. I must think of a plan in advance.
Otherwise, things will get really messy. Just then, she felt a gentle tug on both of her hands.
The 2 kids looked up at her with sparkling eyes.
Don't be afraid, madam. We've got your back. In that moment, an unbreakable shield seemed to form among the 3 of them.
Sheng Mimi couldn't help but chuckle.
Even the kids weren't scared. So why the hell should she be? She nodded firmly at them.
The Shou family was still desperately trying to get her to stay. Princess Royal, please, at least stay for the banquet.
Please, let's not trouble His Majesty over a matter concerning 2 children.
But the Princess Royal completely ignored them.
But before she could even step out the door, her path was blocked by a group of people who suddenly burst in.
And now word is here to arrest wanted fugitives.
Nobody move! The arrogant and domineering Princess Royal couldn't win the argument against Sheng Mimi, so she wanted to run to the palace to file a complaint.
But the very moment she was about to step out,
The men of NY Guard charged in, radiating cold fury.
everyone collectively held their breath. The commander of an RW Guard only shows up in person for major cases.
Something huge was about to go down at this banquet. The Princess Royal almost collapsed as 2 cold blades were suddenly crossed right in front of her. How dare you! I am going to see His Majesty. Do you dare to block my way?
The two blades didn't budge an inch.
Anyone who obstructs the Ennui Guard's investigation will be executed on the spot. We have the authority to kill first and report later.
Even the imperial family is no exception.
The hosts of the banquet panicked at the sight.
Fearing that a royal complaint would ruin them, they rushed forward.
Lord Commander, please, let's resolve this peacefully.
Please investigate. Our Zhou mansion will cooperate completely. Quick!
Someone help Her Highness to the side to rest. The commander of the Ennui Guard finally sheathed his sword. We received a tip
that a ring of counterfeit coin smugglers has infiltrated your guests here at the Zhou mansion.
We are here to root them out. The members of the Zhou family trembled with fear.
Lord Commander, could there be some mistake? Everyone we invited to our estate today is a close personal friend. They are all highly reputable people. How could any of them be involved with wicked smugglers?
The Lord Commander waved his hand coldly and ordered, "Whether they are or not, I will be the judge of that."
A few of you, follow me to the West Wing.
The rest of you, search the East Wing and the front hall.
Take down any resisting suspects on the spot. Sheng Mimi quickly led the siblings to a relatively safe corner to wait, grateful that they had been let off earlier after blocking the commander's carriage. Right now, they were probably the most composed people in the crowd. Soon, a commotion broke out in the crowd.
The suspect is here!
Instantly, the guards and the suspect clashed in a fierce fight. The female guests shrieked in terror, scattering in all directions.
They ran blindly, in utter panic.
In the chaos, Sheng Mimi and her two children were separated by the rushing crowd.
Sheng Mimi panicked, her heart racing with anxiety.
If her two children ran into the criminal, they would be in grave danger.
She desperately tried to push forward to grab the siblings, but she was blocked by the fleeing crowd,
who couldn't push through at all.
Just then, the desperate criminal, backed into a corner by the guards, saw the fallen and isolated Ming Jiawei as his only chance to escape.
He lunged forward, taking Ning Jiao hostage, and roared, "Get the hell back and let me leave,
or I'll slit this little girl's throat."
Sheng Mimi almost blacked out. How could they be this unlucky?
Min Doubiang saw this too.
He was about to rush forward blindly to save his sister. Fortunately, Sheng Mimi grabbed him just in time.
Don't go! You're just a child yourself.
Rushing in will only give the kidnapper another hostage.
Trust me, I have a way to save her.
Just wait here. At this very moment,
with no other choice but to trust Sheng Mimi,
Yo Xiao could only nod anxiously. Meanwhile, the criminal's blade was pressed against Ning Jiao's neck, already drawing blood. The usually aloof little girl was now absolutely terrified. Just as she was falling into despair,
the voice suddenly rang out.
"Let go of my daughter.
I am the mistress of the Chongren mansion.
My daughter has a congenital illness. She can barely run 2 steps without gasping, and any shock could kill her. Take me as your hostage instead. I promise I will cooperate completely."
Ning Jiawei finally realized who truly cared for her in times of crisis. The desperate criminal sneered, "You're so young. How could you possibly have a child this big? You're not trying to pull a fast one on me, are you?"
Sheng Mimi calmly responded that she was the girl's stepmother.
A stepmother is still a mother. She's just a sick, frail kid. It won't be easy for you to escape with her.
Let me take her place.
I promise I'll do whatever you say and won't fight back.
Nin Jiayu cried out weakly. "Stepmother, don't leave me behind." The Desperado saw that Ning Jiayu indeed looked extremely sick, but he was still afraid they were trying to trick him. Seeing him hesitate, Sheng Mimi
Yoei won't last much longer, quickly urged him. "Listen to me. If my daughter is dragged around any longer, she's going to die. If she dies, she'll be of no use to you at all.
By then, forget about swapping hostages.
You won't even be able to escape." At this, the Desperado finally stopped wavering.
"Fine, come over here, and don't you dare play any tricks."
She made me walk over cautiously.
"Don't worry, just don't hurt the child, please."
She cooperated completely to swap places with Ning Jiayu. Having a cold blade pressed against her neck was terrifying. The moment she spoke, her neck was nicked, drawing blood.
Ning Jiaoyan hugged his sister, who was finally out of danger. Choking back tears, he cried out, "Stepmother!" as several secret guards shielded them.
Sheng Mimi comforted him softly. "I'm fine. Take good care of Jiayu."
Holding Sheng Mimi hostage, the Desperado retreated further and further.
He seemed to be very familiar with the layout of the Zhou residence. After making a few quick turns, he managed to shake off the pursuing secret guards. He led Sheng Mimi out through the back door of the Zhou residence.
Sheng Mimi tried to gain sympathy to save herself,
but to her dismay, the thug had no intention of releasing her.
"Shut up. If you cooperate and we get out of here,
I'll let you go. But if you don't,
I'll kill you right now."
Forced onto the carriage at knife point, Sheng Mimi's heart sank. This thug actually planned to take her hostage all the way out of the capital.
If he wouldn't let her go now,
he would almost certainly kill her to silence her later on. Meanwhile, back at the Zhou residence, all the thugs had been fully subdued by the secret guards.
All suffix were about to be taken away for questioning.
This included Assistant Minister Zhou's entire family.
Even the Princess Royal, who was loudly screaming that she was innocent, was among those being dragged away.
A sharp, piercing voice echoed from afar. "How dare you secret guards be so insolent?
How dare you arrest me? This is outrageous."
But the commander turned a completely deaf ear,
wiping the blood off his blade.
as he listened to his subordinate's report.
"My lord,
There were 5 thugs in total. We captured one alive. 3 of them are dead.
And another one took a hostage and fled.
Just then, Ning Yuang rushed over. Commander, we met in the carriage last time. I'm Ning Yuang from the Marquis of Chongrin's mansion. Please, save my stepmother.
She was kidnapped by those thugs while trying to save my sister. The commander took a long look at the crying boy, begging for help,
and asked his subordinates, which direction?
before vanishing in a flash.
Meanwhile, the capital was crawling with spies from the Anhui department. 1, 2. Holding Sheng Mimi hostage, the thugs were driving the carriage out of the city. They had to send a message to their boss that the trade at Vice Minister Zhou's estate had failed.
The counterfeit coins were all buried inside Vice Minister Zhou's estate.
4 people still haven't made it out.
If even one of them survived,
They risked being exposed.
hearing them talk so openly in front of her, Sheng Mimi knew she was doomed.
They were discussing such top-secret plans right in front of her.
They obviously had no intention of letting her live.
But refusing to give up, she tried to bargain for her life.
Please, gentlemen.
Already so far from the Zhou estate.
I swear I won't say a word. Please, spare my life. Inside the carriage, the thug sneered, using the tip of his dagger to lift Sheng Mimi's chin.
My, what a pretty little lady. How could I bear to kill you? In a moment,
Play along with me when we cross the city gates.
Once we're through, we'll let you go.
Sheng Mimi forced a thrilled smile. Really? You promise? But in her heart, she didn't believe a word. Once they were safe, they would kill her for sure. Right now, besides the driver outside,
The biggest threat was the thug inside the carriage. She had to keep him calm first, and find a way to make him untie the ropes on her hands.
The thug kept trying to fool her. Just pretend to be my wife. Tell them we came into the city to see a doctor.
now we're heading back. As long as we fool the guards, we're golden.
Sheng Mimi sighed softly. Big brother.
Look at my clothes. We don't look like husband and wife at all.
Anyone can see I'm a lady from a wealthy household.
It's too fake.
Why don't we pretend to be master and servant instead? That would actually match my status.
The thug drew his blade, threatening her. I don't care about husband and wife or master and servant.
Just get us through the gate inspection.
If we don't make it, I'll slit your throat right now.
Sheng Mimi quickly agreed. Fine, I'll help you. But you need to untie me first.
What kind of master travels all tied up?
The thug stared intensely at Sheng Mimi.
You're not planning to pull any tricks and run, are you?
Try Mimi offered a sweet smile.
How could I? I'm just a weak, helpless girl. What could I possibly do?
Don't tell me you're actually afraid you can't beat me in a fight.
Thought that about it, and realized she had a point. So he tied all the ropes binding Sheng Mimi.
By now, the carriage had reached the city gate for a routine inspection.
The bandit pressed the blade right back against Sheng Mimi's neck.
Don't you dare play any tricks, he warned.
Or, I promise you'll be the first to die.
Sheng Mimi lifted a corner of the carriage curtain and told the guard they had urgent business out of town.
She even pulled a hairpin from her hair and handed it to him.
As she handed the hairpin over,
She intentionally cut her own hand.
She hoped the blood on the hairpin would catch the guard's attention. But the greedy guard just took it and stuffed it right into his coat. He didn't notice her hint at all. Sheng Mimi spoke up again to remind him. This hairpin was left by my mother.
Years ago. It's a genuine family heirloom.
You should take a very close look, officer. But the guard just waved his hand impatiently.
All right.
Do you think we've never seen anything valuable before?
Just get moving.
Her desperate attempt to drop hints for help had gone down the drain again. Sooner or later, she was going to report these useless, slacking guards.
After successfully passing through the city gate,
Sheng Mimi asked the bandit.
now that we're out, can you let me go?
The bandit fiercely snapped.
Shut up! Keep waiting!
But Sheng Mimi wasn't about to just sit still.
If she waited any longer, she'd really end up dead.
She pretended to be shocked and cried out.
Wait, look! Is that the sound of horse hooves behind us?
Could someone be chasing us? Hearing this, the thug quickly turned to lift the curtain and look, and the knife he was holding against her neck slipped out of position.
宣经理袭击到请你。
Pulled out another hairpin and stabbed it straight into the thug's neck.
The thug shrieked and collapsed, unable to get back up. He lay there, shouting curses, which immediately caught the attention of his accomplice driving the carriage.
The driver yanked the curtain open and gasped.
Damn it. You actually know some martial arts.
He drew his sword and slashed at Sheng Mimi, causing the horses to suddenly bolt out of control.
Mimi seized the momentum and rolled right off the runaway carriage.
Fortunately, she used her inner energy to cushion the fall, but the driver didn't give her a single second to catch her breath. His long blade came slashing down at her. In close quarters combat, she was completely outmatched. Before long, she was covered in cuts on her face and body.
If this kept up, he was definitely going to kill her.
I've got to think of a way to take him down.
Resorting to his usual trick, he pointed behind the thug and yelled, "Look behind you! The guards are here!"
Sure enough, the slow-witted thug instinctively whipped his head around.
Sheng Mimi seized the moment and delivered a devastating kick right between the thug's legs.
The agonizing pain instantly took the thug out of commission.
Without wasting a single second, he bolted.
He knew damn well that if he got caught again, it wouldn't be as simple as just getting tied up next time.
Right then, bring like the...
A sudden rustling sound came from the nearby bushes.
An arrow shot out from the undergrowth,
flying straight towards Sheng Mimi.
Sheng Mimi barely dodged it,
only to realize with horror that there were more of them. He was doomed.
He hadn't even enjoyed a few days of the good life yet.
Was he really going to die here? Those two kids had only just started to warm up to him.
Before he could react, another arrow came flying right at him.
His mind went completely blank in absolute despair. The sheer terror of death forced his eyes shut. But suddenly, a sharp clink echoed in his ears.
A small pebble had struck the arrow, deflecting it away.
Sheng Mimi opened his eyes and saw a figure on horseback galloping toward him from the distance. It was the security commander, who had just saved his pathetic life.